Please note the views and opinions expressed by the hosts on this show are not necessarily the views held by the station.
You're listening to Critical Mass Radio. Now it's our turn.
And good evening. Welcome to Outside the Box here on Sunday night. Gregorian date, June 30th, the civil date, and of course June 23rd, which is the Julian date, non-civil. Curveballs, you know me. Anyway, yeah. Interesting times we live in for sure. And, where do I want to start? I had so many things that I want to talk about tonight. And, yeah, I had a couple of conversations today that would have actually covered a whole 3-hour segment. So am I talked it? Oh, partially, I think. But, no, I just find it interesting. Here's a shout out. Not sure. Let's just say, how do you put this? If for a reason I'm not on the air tomorrow night, it's because I couldn't find a Wi-Fi connection living in my car. How's that? Does that work? Yeah. Interesting times, and I got to tell you, when you have knowledge of certain things, and it's just amazing when old Georgie shows up and the different forms that it takes. You've heard me talk about reruns a fair bit lately, and you know, I wish things were a little predictable sometimes, but they are what they are, and that's all there is to it. And until people really get a grip on what the ego is as compared to them, their true nature, they'll be playing Gilligan's Island episode 1 over and over and over and over and over. You know, lifetime after lifetime after lifetime. One of the concepts too, just to try to bring the whole planet together in a different concept. I did touch on this the other night. When you know, you're dealing with people all around the world, you also have to keep in mind that that's consciousness that you have interfaced with before, countless times. And you hear people talk about their family and this and that and the other, and how, you know, critically important this is and critically important that is, and without ever stopping to think that, well, it's consciousness. And when was the last time you gave, you know, from your last lifetime, when was the last time you gave your kids of that lifetime and your parents and your grandparents and aunts, uncles, cousins, friends, and when was the last time you gave them a second thought and wanted to go to war for them? And what about the lifetime before? You see, here's the paradox that we run the potential of harming ourselves, because this is how we harm ourselves. You know, the very beings that anyone's particular religion or I was going to say sociopathic, it's probably more accurate, but any social program that people are caught up into, the culture, whatever the case may be, whatever you're in right now. And I'm not just speaking. I'm speaking planetary. Okay, so just bear with me, guys. Don't take it personal. That's Georgie. But anyway, you know, those that were reaching out to say, well, we got to go and destroy them. Who's to say that some of the aspects of consciousness within that population wasn't one of your children or a parent in another lifetime, 3, 4, 5, 10, 50, 100 times ago? Who knows? And I would say, you know, until you're absolutely certain and sure, you may want to rethink that position. Because the further down the line you go in terms of lifetime after lifetime, which eliminates time altogether, by the way, you start to get the real big picture of how closely interwoven we are, regardless of culture, creed, sex, gender, religion, social upbringing, country, whatever divide and conquer method is used to keep you in a construct. That suddenly all just kind of goes there, and it's gone. I think people, if they had that particular viewpoint, especially jarheads in the military that are out murdering kids and women and men, be they whatever, doesn't matter. If you're out, you've got a license to kill if you're in the military. All right, that's the bottom line. And was talking earlier with Cindy, and I thought this would be another good analogy to bring up again when I was talking to her, because the name Charles Manson came up, and the first reaction you get with Charles Manson, well, he's a sociopathic serial killer. So, well, actually, no, he's not. He didn't kill anybody. He just motivated those around him to do the killing for him, if indeed that was his intention. Because anything comes out of system, I kind of question anyway, right? Knowing how this legal system works, because it doesn't. But anyway, so let's have a look at it from an allegorical position, right? So here is Charles Manson doing time since whatever 70-something, whatever, late 60s, early 70s, for instigating and sending people out to do the killing for him. And I thought, well, that's very reminiscent of, say, an American or a British or a whatever, it doesn't matter, general, right? Like, who knows where Chucky Manson got his orders from, right? And who gives the orders to the generals? And of course, the generals order their, little legions of jarheads, tin soldiers, to go out and do all the killing for them. So how is a military general any different than as a serial killer with intent to kill, any different than a Charles Manson? It's just, and you can say, well, it's because there's ego. Ego has to justify everything. Ego has to justify why it needs to go out and kill another ego. And you've heard all the talking heads on TV. We have to invade this and do this because, well, that's what you're telling us, but we know that's not the truth. And quite simply, some of the most idiotic beings you will find on this planet are talking heads, pretty faces, and what have you on television, who are just spoon-fed information. They're bought and paid for. They have their paychecks and their fame, and that's usually pretty straightforward to control a lot of people. Well, the egos anyway. Give them enough money, give them prestige, and they'll never bother. They'll never go looking for anything other than that because they're content. The only time you're going to find any sort of truth is if you're discontent. Something just doesn't sit right with you. It was one of the observations I made during diving on the reefs, and I've dove a lot of reefs. When you go out to where the reef starts, like where the ocean hits the reef wall, and you've got the wall coming up and over, it's teeming with life because there's a challenge there. One of the things I noticed that on the other side, on the calm side of the reef, where there was all this sand and calm and there was really no life, no activity. You might see the odd group or whatever, but typically, if you wanted to see the real sea life, they were the ones living with the challenge of the ocean currents pushing against them to give them a sense of purpose. And that's exactly what we need to do in terms of come from the natural world to come into our world. And if you find yourself in a comfort zone, you're not moving forward. You're just kind of spinning. You're going through the motions of rerun after rerun. Take the kids to soccer, take the kids to dance, take the kids to this, and get the kids to school, get the kids fed. Got to go out for dinner. Got to do this. And week after week after week until one day you wake up, and the body you were in is in a coffin, and you're looking at it going, and things that make you go, a lot. So I look at that and I see someone that hasn't really given themselves a challenge. They might have moved up a little bit, but in the grand scheme of things, and especially if there's a church service at the funeral, now we're still dealing with complete circular, and it's going nowhere. That is the allegorical Milky Way. If you look up, the densest part, you'll see what looks like a serpent eating its tail. And there's the as above, so below. So what we need to do is take that tail out of the serpent's mouth, so that it's not looping on itself all the time, and get it to start going back up into a spiral. Just an allegory. Oh, here we go. Let's. We have Stola here. One sec. Let's bring Stola in. Yeah, it's wide open tonight, guys. So feel free to chime in and let's have a little nice Sunday evening chit chat, and we'll go from there. Stola.
Yeah.
How are you?
Good evening, Kate. Oh, I'm fine. And
I believe you.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, it's all good. Trying to get my headset working here.
Mm.
Yeah. So what's on your mind?
No, nothing special really. I just wanted to be in.
Oh,
and
okay.
had a pretty remarkable experience last night.
Well, let's hear about it.
Now just with the pressing on the eyes. And it really flashed up. Yeah.
Lights up pretty good, huh?
Extremely. At first it got all light, and then suddenly it was just like, like looking at the whitest of the sun, and it was all around. No head, no nothing. Just like being in, that was amazing. So
in the universal flow. If you want to have a glimpse without needing the ayahuasca and all the rest of it, there's a quick shortcut to it.
Yeah. Nice one.
Yeah, have a look at your little comet. Your point of light that's projecting your hologram. You. That's looking at you in the mirror, baby.
Yeah.
So what else?
Oh, you go on.
Oh,
I think. I had a couple of hours sleep, so I just woke up again.
So you're still in the zone. I didn't get a chance to zone out today. I just got busy packing stuff. So.
And that sounds.
Sounds ominous, doesn't it? It's just.
It does.
It's all good. It's all good. I'm not one for conflict. I choose to resolve conflict, and when I see there's potential for it, and I ask once to see what's up, and I get nothing, and then I ask again, dealing with the same situation again, and get nothing, well, then obviously there's nothing to resolve. So great. I don't go to 3. That's how it is, and I'm not one to wait for anyone or anything to build up what I call justifiers. I think it was Cindy I was talking about this with regards to pedestals today, and let me retouch on that again. And there was a couple other things I wanted to go back onto as well, because a lot of this stuff needs repeating because it's very simple and very difficult to get. But one of the things that happens when, and this is why I absolutely abhor any form of pedestals, because invariably when one pedestal gets built, there's actually 2 getting built, and it's with the intent. This is what ego does. Ego is all about survival. That's all ego knows. It has to keep the meat stick clicking along. And damn the torpedoes and damn the being running the ship, right? Okay, that's the ego taking over the helm, and it's a tricky little bastard. It loves wonderful sights and smells and tastes and feelings, and it's all very 5 sense oriented. That's because that's all it can experience. It doesn't experience spirituality as we do. These are the programs that we run in. And what you'll find happening, and I'm sure you've seen it many times, what you find happening, if someone is looking, or an ego is looking for a reason to, what's the best way to put it? Build itself up or pick a fight, right? It begins, first off, by building what I call justifiers, where there's really nothing there. It could be a simple misunderstanding, which is 99% of the time is what it is. There wasn't a duplication of intent and meaning, because ego will fractionalize and marginalize everything to its own needs, and people do this unknowingly, and they automatically go on a defensive, and only the ego can be offended. And only the ego has its own opinion, and damn all others. So when you're dealing with that kind of an energy, I'm trying to get this formulated properly so I can explain it as clearly as I can. And it's a no harm, no foul situation. It's just observing the program. And I just choose to not partake in it any longer. For me, it's pointless. It is of low energy, and it is completely self-destructive and externally destructive if you let it. And I just choose to go, no thanks, I'm good, thanks. You can take the egg and throw it at somebody else. I'm not interested. So what you find happening is if someone doesn't have, quote, enough on you, unquote, they will start manufacturing it. They will start building up that molehill into a mountain. And it could be something stupid. I think the example I used with Cindy was somebody, putting the toilet roll on backwards to the way you like it. And that really sets some people off, Oh, my God, There is a right way and a wrong way, by the way. The toilet roll should be so that you pull down from the top at the front, not down the back from underneath, because you'll find that invariably you will pull too hard and it will unwind a lot more than you want. Plus, it's a lot more difficult to tear off. So, yes, there is a more efficient way. I wouldn't say a right way, but there is a more efficient way. But anyway, some people lose their minds on this stuff. Me, I just I'll just flip it over. No big deal. That's, I'm into resolution, solve it. And maybe suggest it or not, doesn't really matter to me. I don't put that much weight on silly stuff like that. But what egos will do is they will build up all sorts of justifiers to get the ego worked up. Well, the ego saying, I need to be right, so I have to manufacture situations. And typically that starts happening when, if someone comes to another and says, listen, hey, what's up? Something bugging you? And they go, oh, no, there's nothing bugging me. And of course there is. And then you ask, is it something I did? And, well, no, and okay, whatever, it's me, me, I'll confront everything. It's one of the reasons why people either love or hate me. That's the thing. Anybody wants me around them, well, they better be lovers of the truth. Or I'm impossible to be around. That's the truth. I make no bones about it. I'm done playing in this little warfare and sanity game here, and I am working towards a different realm shift. So, but I won't take that stuff. Well, like I said, I'll do it twice. I will confront it twice. And if there's still no resolution there, then I know what's happening. There's a tower being built, a pedestal being built, an illusional mountain for the ego to get onto, to be all powerful. And it's like, yeah, okay, sure. That one's easy to explode. But there it is. People do it over and over and over again. It's a rerun, total rerun. Excuse me. Of course, I get into a lot of different things with regards to that. But no, I'm just going to let things unfold as they unfold. I'm in the universal stream of things, and no harm, no foul. Like I said, you sit down and have a conversation with me for any length of time, and you'll either be, yeah, awesome, and click, 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 or starting to get really uncomfortable. Because I'll bring up shit that most people don't want to confront. I've already confronted it, so I know it's not easy. But you got to get past it. Don't tell me that you want to move forward, and the tools are there to do that, and you won't. That's another savior program running, right? It's like when people contact me with regards to legal stuff. You know me, right? For me, that's solved. It's more now a willingness of others to actually use the tools that are there. You can find one of these tools that applies to every situation of legal. I wanted one ring to rule them all. That's what they did to us. So I thought, well, fire with fire. So let's create our own ring. And the ring is quite simple. If you go to kateofgaia.wordpress.com, A couple of things you need to read. And I keep saying this. I'm going to keep saying this until people actually go, oh, I'm going to go check that out. And I'm actually going to try to resonate with what is being displayed here. It's not easy for most because I write everything from an ethereal perspective. Because everything in the physical has to mimic everything in the ethereal. There's your duality, physical and spiritual, right? Of course, the mind being the interface, or the brain being the interface between, the walker between worlds. So the documents that I put together are the results of countless hours of not only research. Research is fine, gives you some of the tools and some of the understandings, but I speak from experience. And that experience has had me run through the mill. And I had to put that aside to stay on the course with all the mindless distractions. And of course, system, once you wake up to a certain point, you become a very noticeable virus in their game. And they don't like viruses, and they try to kill the virus. First thing they try to do is they try to, create a different path and bribe or, appease the ego to buy the ego off, right? Okay, well, that one never worked with me before, and it won't work now for sure. Because I know what it is. It's nonsense. Why would I give up my spiritual infinity for another meat stick go-around? Thanks, but no. The other one is they come at you with low-level and medium-intensity conflict, where they'll destroy everything around you, all of your relationships, your family. Like me, they did that, and dad, insult to injury, assault to the wound. Steal the house, the car, the truck, countless possessions, countless tens of thousands of dollars worth of stuff, put you out in the street on the coldest night of the year. Which, by the way, even according to the Tenants Act, you can't evict someone, rental, because you don't own a house. Anyone that thinks they're paying a mortgage and they're buying a house, you need to get your head examined. You didn't read the contract. It says you're a tenant on it, right? You're a glorified tenant, that's all. It just means that you're willing to pay more of the bullshit than, someone that's just renting, in the literal sense. Yeah, anything in the system. Here's the bottom line. This one should make it very clear for people. You got a name? Yeah, okay, good. I thought you might. Whose is it? Yours? No, it's not. You think it is. And you'll fight to the death for it. Well, old Georgie the ego will, right? I'm using a reference from Cloud Atlas, by the way. That's probably the best representation I've ever seen of the devil within, old Georgie. So if you have seen Cloud Atlas, you know who I'm talking about. It was Tom Hanks' little devil on the shoulder. That is a brilliant example of programmed ego. Same things over and over again. So if you think you have a name, sorry, you don't. It was given away by your parents, right? You're using it in fraud. That was the whole intent. They wanted to make sure that you were in dishonor by committing fraud, by using something that doesn't belong to you. And it's very easy to prove. I've proven it many times. Got an emergency passport as a result of this knowledge. That was over 2 years ago. And still people have a hard time listening to this, because they're still clinging on to something they think is theirs. That's ego. Ego's going to, keep you fighting to the death for the name. But Kate, what do I do? What do I do? Well, fuck, I don't know. I just, did my thing. I chose infinity and went with the flow of the universe. And right now I'm at the complete mercy of the universe. Because the next day or so, I'm going to get in my car and I'm just going to drive somewhere, and I don't know where I'm going. If I have to sleep in my car, that's fine. That's why I say it might be a little touchy as far as being on the air or whatever. But, yeah, realm shift. And, yeah, it's amazing. Just going to have to do what I have to do, right? And, because I got to tell you, conflict is not something I like. I've never liked conflict. I've seen too much of it. I've seen too many people get hurt with it. Hell, it ends up in wars killing people. Those molehills do turn into mountains. That's the ego program. So I don't want any part of it. I'm about resolution. I'm not about debating. I've had enough debating in my life. I've had enough dealing with stuck channels. You know, people that are regurgitating the same fucking crap day in and day out. You know, how many times do people have to get into a situation one-on-one with another individual that always invariably turns into a shouting match or a pissing match before they figure it out? You're going circular. You see, because an argument is all about, I don't want resolution. I prefer the drama. You know, and truly the strong one is the one that says, I'm not playing. I'm not playing this game. Sorry, you know. I love you too much. I can't do this. I'm not going to stand here and I'll shred your ego just because I will, and that's just the nature of what I'm doing. But I have no animosity towards the being. Oh my God, no. That's exactly what I'm trying to get to, you know, because it's like trying to look out, you know, the bay window of a beautiful, picturesque mountain scene with lakes and all the rest of it, and you know, someone's spent the last, you know, whatever number of years of your life throwing shit all over the window. So you've only got this little crack here and there that you can actually sort of get an idea that it must be pretty on the other side. So I just take a squeegee to it, take a power washer and blast all the shit off. And that can be a bit of a chore. Depends how much shit has been thrown on that glass, and it depends how resistant the being is to actually want to see past that. So there's lots of pre-qualifiers here, you know, and we've had lots of that happen on this show, where an ego will show up, and it's kind of funny because you have other people tagging going, oh yeah, there it is. Right? They're spotting it, they're seeing it because they know what it is. We all have one. I'll tell you, the first thing I think of when someone says, I don't have any ego. Oh yeah? Put that in the mirror, because the minute you try to tell someone that you don't have an ego is the minute you have probably one of the biggest ones you will ever come across. Of course you have an ego. I do. We all do. It's your program. The difference is the dog walking you, or are you walking the dog? You know? So that's what you're dealing with on the grand scale. You know, we have human consciousness too. So the more of us that get into the zone of realizing that we have that duality, the program allows this game to run. It's the rational left mind. It's the thinker. You know? But you can't let it take control. You lose all your intuitive, your creative, and your compassion, all the wonderful things. See, because you got both aspects in both hemispheres, and it's really a situation of bringing those back into balance. So just remember that about the ego. Is the dog walking you, or are you walking the dog? And the minute you start getting loud and emotional and I don't know, crazy, defending a position, and I've done it. We've all done it, for crying out loud. It's ego. The ego gets into the fight, flee, or freeze mode. The ego is all about fear, fail, lack, loss, lust, greed. It's all of those very less than positive emotions. That's where it really grovels and has a great time. It just wallows in that shit. I just don't like hanging out in the cesspools. You know, I've been there. Hell, I was there most of my life. And that's the thing. Only having been there can you actually observe it at all. So just learn to spot it. And don't ever tell me you don't have an ego, because I'll take the chainsaw to you right away. And all I have to say is this: oh yeah, you do. And what does the ego do? Oh no, I don't. Oh yeah, you do. Poke, 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 poke. Boom. Doesn't take much. You know? No, I've become a very careful and very neutral observer. And once you get into that little zone, then you can spot this stuff very quickly and very easily. You can see where the ego is trying to manipulate its way in to give itself a better survival position, or to build its own pedestal a little higher in its mind than yours. And getting back to the two towers, there's another symbolism of 9/11. There's the two towers, right? Tolkien. Pedestals. And it's about destroying the pedestals. You got to take those pedestals down, those icons. Because here's the thing about putting someone on a pedestal. If you put someone on a pedestal, it's only with the intent that at some point the ego is going to feel less surviving and will start to hack away at it. And of course, here's the repeat cycle of it. The ego will do that in an effort to make itself appear stronger. Because if it can destroy something that has a perceived, betterness about it, then by default, and insanely, by the way, the ego will have, well, I'm better than that because I beat it. No, that's competition. That's get back into the wildlife zone, boys and girls. Head back into predator-prey land and see if you can figure that one out again. So when someone is building up a pedestal on someone, they're actually building one under themselves too. And they'll keep building, and that's why I do my damnedest to destroy them. And I certainly will not ever allow anyone to put me on a pedestal. Excuse me, I sit at the table, I'm on the level table with everyone. And it's very difficult to have conversations with people until they get this concept. With me, it's not about getting into a debate if I ask a question of someone. I just need to know what's going on. How can I get in the middle so that I can balance this out so it accommodates both you and me, and we're all winning, right? Some people will take it as, well, they're just trying to control me and this. No, not at all. I don't give a fuck. But that is ongoing program. That is workplace program. That is school program. That is religion program. These are all put into people. That's what the ego. That's all the ego does. Is it gets programmed with external influences. The ego, in as much as myself as creator, is the net sum total of all my experience. And I'm going to choose what stuff gets programmed into that ego. And I'm going to purge all the crap that I know is there. It makes it much more manageable. And you're a whole lot calmer, and you don't have high blood pressure, and you're not stressed out, and you're not looking for the next reason to reach out and punch someone. It makes for a very calm existence. It really does. I don't think, for me that doesn't seem like a big stretch, but that's a lot harder. In its simplicity, it's much harder for people to really own up to. Because the ego doesn't want to be wrong. And that's the first thing you gotta decide. I've been wrong about everything. The ego's just, it does not like that shit at all. That's why, anyone around me is going to have a hard time. Because I've had very, very many people come to me with the ego savior program. Oh, well, Kate will fix it. Kate will write me a document, and I'll do this, that, and the other, and that's great. But here's the problem, especially of late over the last year. Knowing full well what's going on, knowing that, a year and a half now, about a year and a half, I know full well that the whole legal system is bullshit. They don't follow their own rules. They make them up as they go, guys. Sorry, who makes the laws? Politicians, and what are they? Lawyers? Judges? You think they still hang out with their buddies in the bar? And I mean that in all ways. Of course they do. You find a loophole that's why there's over 65 million laws on the books. The more laws, and this goes back to ancient times, the more laws on the books, the more corrupt society is. Because all it is they're trying to, that's one lie told, and then another 10 to cover that one, and another 10 to cover each one of those, and so on and so on and so on. That's what laws are. They're lies protecting lies. And the simple truth is, what I offer people is responsibility. You're walking around with a name. You got the mark of the beast. You're in the whore of Babylon. You're a consumerian. You are exactly where system wants you, worshipping their beast, playing with their whore, ruled by their crown. And it's all triggered to the name. And it's funny, I on my way back after, I meant to bring this up last night, my way back, and there was lo and behold, in a place I would never expect to see one, but there was the no-name truck pulled off to the side of the road. Yeah, I thought, isn't that interesting? So, in answer to, I talked about that the other day, and there it was. It showed up for me exactly when it was supposed to. So there you go. The fact is, you walk around with a legal name, any ID or system whatsoever, you are in the system. You're committing fraud. But how do we correct that? Well, I who shall not be named. Just start getting that out to everybody. That'll sort a few little red wagons. You know, I can't do it all. I try. You know, it's like, okay, let me see. And I got this a lot with people. So it's not enough that I've given up everything in my life and I, have been researching for years and uncovering things from a very ethereal perspective, and then writing documents, because I spent a lifetime as a songwriter, kind of gave me that knack to do it, and different songs, that's all, and put these documents together, and and then go on the air 7 nights a week and talk about it, and there it is, the documents are there. All you got to do is read the long and short of it. Invocation of the Cross, I who shall not be named. They're all on kateofgaia.wordpress.com. You grasp those documents, you'll see it. And until you see it, those documents are useless to you. But they are templates. They're template formats, right? The I who shall not be named, all you got to do is take the names I put in there out and put your own in. You got a parking ticket? Fire that into the court case, watch what happens. You got a foreclosure action going on, which I wish I knew exactly what was in that document before they raided me and kidnapped me. But they knew I didn't have a name. They didn't care. Because I wasn't playing with their system. So there's a few things in retrospect. This is why I'm speaking from hindsight 2020, right? Things that I would do differently. The good news is I would never have found out what I found out had it been done differently. Because what I was looking for was the middle ground between the gimme-gimmes of the free man on the land sovereign movement, op types, and all the rest of it, and basically becoming a hobo, right? I was trying to find that middle ground. Now, and I did, as far as I can tell, and it's pretty straightforward. Here's the steps. It's really quick. This is how it works. In order for a fraud to happen, there had to be an intent to commit fraud to begin with. Fact. Okay? And the fact that there was no disclosure when mom and dad registered your name, or you registered your kids, or whatever the case may be, there was no disclosure from the Crown or the registration. It doesn't matter where you go, it's all the Crown. I don't care what state you're in, what country you're in, it all goes back to Crown. That's what register is all about. So there had to be an intent to commit fraud from the system. Of course there was. But there's that old ignorance of the law is not a defense from or of the law, right? However, we're not ignorant anymore, so that one's out the door. So we know the fraud was there. We know there was non-disclosure, deliberate non-disclosure, because if there had been full disclosure, saying, well, listen, when you register your child's name, we're going to be making a debt bond glue, and we're going to stick it to your child for the rest of its life so that it can be a slave for us. Is that okay with you? I think mom and dad might have a separate issue about it. But they've even got to the point now where, and here people wonder how they get away with it, forcing mom and dad to register their child now. Well, because mom and dad don't know who they are yet. So they're still thinking they're the name, so they have no standing whatsoever. None. See the catch-22? This is why this little piece of information is critical. So now what the system has done is it has absolved itself of any fraud via your ignorance or unwillingness to ask questions and just going along with the peers and the peer pressure and go with the flow. Well, everybody does it, so I guess I have to do it. Yeah, there's original individual thinking for you. Hey, I did it too. It's okay. That's why I know. That's not something I would do again. So now mom and dad register the name that they think they gave to you, and of course the only document you ever get from a government is a birth certificate. That's the proof of the fraud. There's a long form and a short form. The long form is the original document, and the short form is the proof of the fraud, because it is turned into a state asset, crown. Okay? Now mom and dad don't know any better, and they keep calling you by that name for the rest of their lives. And you think it's you because that's what mom and dad called you. They thought of it, of course. It's ethereal. And here's the other catcher, too. If they were married in a church, they have contract with the church and state. So anything created within that marriage is church and state property, too. So the fraud goes a whole lot deeper, but there was again, it had to go back to the original intent of system to do this to you. Excuse me, that's what I'm clarifying. Of course there was intent. Look at the harm that's happening to people. I'd say there's intent to harm. And there was, ab initio since before it began. And that's where you have to go. You have to go back before the beginning. That way you can go nunc-pro-tunc with it, now for then. So here we are. Mom and dad give you the birth certificate because they're convinced that it's yours. And they tell you it's yours, and you're convinced it's yours. And, oh, look, it's got my name on it. But no one bothers to check the fine print that says Crown copyright. And it is an offense to create false identification, use a false identity, blah, 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 blah. It says right on mine, by the way. It couldn't be any more vivid, which is funny. And what happens then is, because you think it's you, but that's not yours, you're actually using someone else's property. And it was done beautifully, very, very deceptively. This was a swindle of swindles. And if you enjoy being swindled, keep carrying the ID. And not knowing who you are. There's ways to use the tools, but I don't give those out because you've got to get into a very, very particular position to be able to wield that. I know I can because I have. And that's not saying that I'm special. It's just I know what I did when I did it. That's my experience. No one else was with me when I did it. No one else was me during the whole process, just me. And all I'm trying to do is convey the net results of my experience. And they're quite powerful results. Where you have a British High Consulate yielding to the fact that any use of the name is in fact fraud. And once that was clarified, I said, well, I need a passport to get my dad back to Ireland, his ashes. That was his last will. And okay, no problem. And I said, I'm not doing this to be a part of the name. I'm doing this just to keep myself safe, with the understanding that you know that I'm not using this to commit fraud. And that was the agreement. So the thing is, once you have a birth certificate, that's just proof of the fraud. And you go and try and get government ID without it. And the fact that there is a birth certificate in place, you'll find you can get some ID without it now too, because they really don't want people catching on to this shit. And that's it. There's the linchpin. That's the bolt you pull out of the robot that collapses it to the ground. Cool, huh? It's that
for sure.
It's that simple.
I only carry my birth certificate, and Sweden is trying to make me have an ID card to go and get me a driver's license.
Oh yeah, that's because they want you in contract, baby.
But I'm not doing any of that, and so I don't play. But yeah.
Yeah, you don't need to, because all you got to do to their goonies, jarheads, whatever the case may be, court especially, is seriously read "I Who Shall Not Be Named," and you'll see how to turn. There's questions to ask. Once you know this, I'm not asking you to believe it. Once you know this, where do you see how much power it wields? Because the only question I'm asking, listen, this name does not belong to me. I'm here to clarify a mistaken identity where there was willful non-disclosure and intent to commit fraud, using my parents, aiding and abetting them to convince me to commit fraud. This name does not belong to me. It says right here, Crown copyright. There has been a mistake. And you heard that in the Judge Bow's video, by the way. That was one of the first things I said. There's been a mistake. That shuts courtrooms down, by the way. They don't like mistakes, okay? All the world's a stage.
Maybe it's different here in Sweden. There's doesn't say on the birth certificate not allowed to be used as identification. No, I know the concept is exactly the same. So,
it doesn't matter. I mean, mine, see, there's my puzzle piece. Mine does. And I know that people after me, even a couple of years later, it's not on theirs. So it was on mine, and prior to mine, right, I was born in 1964, according to the Gregorian. Okay, this body anyway, not me. I'm infinite. But it's right on mine. So the only thing you need is proof with one, if but one shall awaken. Right? This is why you are so critically important in the game. You have a very specific piece to play. This was one of mine. That's all, to let people know that, yeah, these were the clues that I had to prove this. So all you have to ask the court is the court's intent now to aid and abet me in the commission of fraud, knowing full well that this name is not mine? Is that the court's intent here? Wait till you see what happens. They don't like that, because what you've done is you've put the court finally into the dishonor that they've always been. But you had to remove, there's your pedestals. You had to remove your own dishonor first. And who the hell is going to look at themselves thinking, I'm being dishonorable, when you're... It's a beautiful swindle. It is absolutely glorious. I mean, I applaud, like, well done. Nice curveball. Caught it. Now I pitch it back. And I know you haven't got a glove, and I'm not aiming for your hand anyway. Right? So that's the fundamental that you have to get. That's the basic that you have to get.
I don't carry the original of the birth certificate.
Oh, you only get a copy.
I went to a library and asked if she could copy it, and then I asked if she could state that it was right copy, because it's an old document and it looks real.
Yeah, just take a...
and she stamped it, and I said I'll take 5 of them, so I can have them one in each car, because I can still drive. The police couldn't say anything when they stopped me. But I'm lucky that way, because I was asked to send my driver's license in to the traffic registry, my Norwegian license, the original. So I sent it in, and that's in the police's, if they stop me on the road, they can see, oh yeah, we see you sent in your license, but you don't have anything else but this birth certificate. No?
Nope.
I say, and they don't ask why I'm driving, because I would say that, I said that I drive because I know how to, and I'm responsible doing it, and I wasn't that responsible before. I knew this because I was going much faster.
Yeah, well, here's
like that.
Here's the thing, Stola. What you've just outlined is exactly what I'm trying to convey to people. You see, because until they get proof of your commission of fraud, a license is actually stating that you are going to be committing a willful criminal act. Any license of any kind, any permit of any kind is stating that you are a willful criminal. That's a fact. That's how they have you. You know, it's like I laugh at these people. I really do now, and I'm being as cordial as I can on this, but I'm laughing at people that you'll see them on occasion where they get pulled over and they'll ask for the standard stuff, and they say, "Well, I do not wish to contract with you." Stupid! You already have. The fact that you have a driver's license says you've contracted. That's why you were under the Highway Traffic Act. You know, when you consent to be that name, using any identification whatsoever, handmade or otherwise, with your name. If you want to, you know, you want to be in honor with the name, just carry the BC with you. You know, that's the only thing the government ever gave me. Gave my parents, actually. My parents gave it to me, and I know it's not mine, and I know it's not me, and they can't do a damn thing with it because it is proof of the fraud. So if they were to use it, they're actually committing fraud. They're trying to aid and abet you into fraud. I had a friend of mine once, a couple of years back, got pulled over, and that was the first thing out of his face. I told him, I said, it's not your wish to commit fraud. And stymied them. He ended up at my place on the air with me that night because he was on his way to my place when he got pulled over. And, yeah, it's a stymie, right? And I'll tell you, they went through his car to find anything they could find with a name on it, and he had an old repair receipt in his glove compartment. He had nothing else, just that. And it had an old address, right? There's the other UPU trap, addresses, right? This is why, you know, things like Opt and all the rest of that crap, I laugh my face off at it, because it's just another way to make people believe in the system. It's got nothing to do with remedy. They just want you believing in it. They want you thinking you can use that name. They want you thinking that you can be this and be that and be the other. And occasionally they'll let people, quote, win, unquote, to keep that illusion alive. You know, court to me was always and always will be a lottery. They're the ones that pull the ball out, you know, the balls out of the drum, right? Not you. And they're going to let whatever ones they feel are needed to get the right kind of mainstream coverage to make it appear like a win. Everybody in prison right now, regardless of what they've done, is there because they don't know who they are. This whole system, this is why I wanted to bring it down, because it's corrupt. There cannot be any justice in the system. There's just an illusion of it. You know? Because literally, people can get away with some serious crimes with this information. That's why I was always reluctant to let this out. But we're at a point now where we can, and it's time. We need to take this system down. Because what happens when we're bringing up consciousness, we're actually making a world more peaceful. You know, they've been trying to ramp up wars for the last couple of years, and they haven't been very successful in doing it. They haven't just been going out and doing this, that, and the other. There's been lots of interesting things pop up that said, nope, can't do it now. Nope, can't do it now. And there's entities just chomping at the bit to try to get us killed in each other again. We're not buying it. Not anymore. But yeah, the BC, that's the only thing you should carry. Get rid of everything else. Be free.
Yeah. I emptied the bank account and bought a car, and I boxed the name, and I haven't signed on anything since my what's it called, foreclosure on the last plate. I haven't signed anything in cursive or anything like that. So I think they will have a when they try. If I don't know what's gonna happen. I just take it as it comes. But it
go with the flow.
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm just having a great time. Yeah.
Well, that's it, you know, and more people, and I know there are people doing it, they're finally getting the fact as to who and what they are. And that document, I Who Shall Not Be Named, is a template. Print it out, put your name on it, take out mine, I leave them complete. I don't hide anything. Because here's the thing, too. People talk about privacy. In this world, are you kidding me? Consciousness, one consciousness, you think you have privacy? Seriously? Good luck with that. And you're not dealing with just one dimension here, you know, the visible spectrum, you know. What about all the things you can't see? It's there too, you know. So, you know, people are kidding themselves. They really are. And until they start getting, what's that? Oh, sorry, I'm just going down the Skype thing here. Good one, Ninja. There we go. Yeah, well, you know what, guys, it is the way it is, and I'm at that point in my life. So there we go. Oh, sorry, just going down the list here, fella.
Okay.
Yeah, go on.
Just to say that everybody's birth certificate is slightly different depending on where they're from and which year they were born, whatever. But mine is like yours. Mine says not to be used for identification purposes and Crown copyright.
Yeah, and the line. Do you have the line above it that says any use is a criminal offense?
Yeah. I haven't looked at it for quite a while, but I think so.
Well, it says right on mine, and what that's saying is if you go out and get identification with this, you're committing a criminal offense. So they're telling you in your face.
Well, as long as it says not to be used for identification purposes, it's the same thing, isn't it? Because you're asked, and this is what they do. They ask you to provide your birth certificate as a means of ID. The bank,
they want you to
for example, when you're 16 or whatever, and you go to get your first bank account. In England, they don't have an ID card system, so the only ID they can ever ask you for is either a driver's license or something like that. But that comes later because you need a birth certificate to get one of those. So it comes back to what you're saying. If they ask you as a young sort of, just left school person trying to get started, you need a birth certificate to get started. And they ask you for it. A bank account says, opening a bank account, they'll say, oh, just bring your birth certificate in and we'll do it for you, and then you do that. And then that's how it starts.
Well, you're committing fraud when you use it and claiming to be that name.
Exactly. But that's the irony, is it clearly states on there not to be used for identification, but everywhere you go, the post office or whatever, trying to open any account, they'll ask you to provide that as identification. It's madness.
Yep. That is the ab initio commission of fraud, where you're using, as I wasn't sure if it was you or Cindy I said it to, you might as well be check kiting. You might as well be writing checks on someone else's account. Because that's exactly what it is. You don't own bank accounts. You don't own anything attached to that name. That's why people say they own property. No, you don't. While you got a name, you don't own the car you drive, and you don't own the house you're in. You don't own the bank account you're using. You don't own the credit cards. You don't own any of it. It's all system and Crown owned. This is the dupe of dupes. They have people paying for things, the money you don't even own. There's more fraud because that came off the birth certificate, so you're saying you're a cannibal, that you're feeding off the living flesh and spirit, divine feminine essence, Regis, stir, of everyone on this planet. So that's what you're telling everyone, what you think of humanity. I just chose to go, I actually love humanity, so I'm not going to do that anymore. And they give you the out. The trap is also the escape. Everything is mirror opposite here. That which got you trapped will set you free. It's in everything. The poison is the cure is the poison. It depends on your perspective on it. If you're using something in ignorance, of course it's going to be a poison. Once you know what's going on and you realize that it is a poison, are you going to keep drinking from that jug? No. Well, you can if you want. But don't cry me a river when you're trying to play in the system, and the system hands you your ass. I know it handed me mine. And I knew shit. That's exactly why they came after me. And they did it quick. They did it real quick because they knew I was close. Better take this being out. Take her down. Destroy everything around her. Make her kids hate her. Make her soulmate hate her. Make everybody hate her. Rip her through the media. Steal her home, steal her car, steal her truck, steal everything that she's ever had. And then throw them out on the street after you kidnap them and hold them in a cell. And when you dare to take your position and stand with no name, they still come and take you. Right? I've crossed a few T's and dotted a few I's since then. Because at that point, I didn't know how to fully turn the table. Now I do. And it's there if you want it, guys. If you want freedom, it's there. But you better know who you are. And you're sure as fuck not the name that's on that birth certificate. You claim that name, you are toast. you are guillotined. There's your Revelations allegory. Off with their head. And they will, until you wake up. And don't think of it as something evil. The whole game here is to wake up. So the longer you grovel in the game, grovel in the system, what you're saying very clearly is you're happy being asleep. You're happy going along with all the murder and the rapes and the wars and the death and the destruction and all. You're just peachy with it. Now, I could be really nice about it, but sorry. I think everyone that's tuned into me for any length of time knows that I call it as I see it. You know, you talk about that. Well, go ahead, Stahl.
That's what it is. Just from knowing what's going on. You can't participate in that when you know it. So it's just, you do, what you have to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And, that's right.
And I'm saying having a good time. I don't mean not with the situation around, but I do as what I want to. You know, trying to.
You're not out to hurt anyone. You're out to help. I know you've helped me. You've helped many. You know, we got Mim joining in here too, so I'll open up your line, Mim. And
hey.
Go ahead, Ninja.
While I think on it, you mentioned about the poison. Once you know that it's poisoned, you know, would you continue to drink from it? And it's the same as the. Somebody needs to mute.
Yeah, I did. I just.
It's the same as with the pharmaceutical thing. Once you understand, you know, are you going to continue taking the treatments? Well, no. You know, it's the same idea. It's the same across all the way across the board. You know, once you know, you can't continue. So unless you're in denial, that's a different story. But you know.
Well, let's go back to Cloud Atlas for a second. You remember the one storyline that
I didn't see it.
Oh, okay. Well, there's one storyline.
Everyone else, yeah.
In it that one of the guys ends up signing on the dotted line. He thought his brother sent him to this what he thought was a hotel overnight, right? It turns out it was like an old folks home, and he signed the registrar, right? And they said, well, no, you gave us your consent. You signed it. You're here. And there's the proof of contract. Because a signature, this is another key thing too, a signature is proof of your intent. Because you had to intend to sign something before you did. Yes or no? Of course you did. You're not just going to sit and sign something willy-nilly, you know. And when you do that, you're not just creating a physical contract, you're creating a spiritual intent contract. Best think twice on those. That's why I don't sign anything. You know? You stop signing stuff, this world changes. I'm going to try Mim's line again here, see if she's on the line. Mim, are you there? Okay, Mim, hello. I think she's away from her phone. Okay, well, she had her hand up, so I'll check in periodically there. But absolutely.
I mean, the thing is, Kate, if you don't sign anything, not you, everyone.
Everyone, yeah.
Then, well, I've lost my thought there, but
the system collapses.
I mean, basically, well, yes, because you can't. They won't give you anything until you sign for it, but they kind of need you to take all their things, you know. They want you to buy what they're selling.
Right.
But it requires a signature. So if you refuse to sign, then it has to stop because they can't give you anything without a signature. You cannot play. And so it is that simple. The only problem is that people want to continue to play. And it's not them that's stopping us, it's us.
Well, exactly. We're the snake eating its own ass. That's the point that I am trying to get across to people. And until they wake up to the fact that it has been us all along creating this system that we got duped into, it's going to keep going. I mean, this system comes down very quickly the more people get this. and start standing in it. You see, and here's my truth disclaimer. If you can't handle the truth, don't be listening to this show. Because I'll tell you right now, you're going to click on some concepts and you're going to get some ideas and you're going to go, oh my. Now you are completely responsible for that knowledge. So if you can't handle the truth, I tell people this now, don't listen to this show. There's other shows out there that'll entertain you.
Yeah.
I'm not here to entertain. I'm here to break the entertainment. So...
Well, sometimes you are entertaining.
I'm just seeing here, and asked him to bring out the claimant who was making the claim against me. Well, yeah, that's great if you don't have a name, but you're wasting your time, Trolley. Seriously. Read I who shall not be named, and you'll get it. You turn the table of the fraud. It all comes back to the birth certificate. It ain't your name. I don't care what you say. The contract was made with Mom and Dad, not you. It's got nothing to do with you. That's the clincher. It's got nothing to do with you. Mom and Dad aided and abetted you into committing the fraud for them. Mom and Dad are the neutral third parties. If you want proof of this, check out Ward of Admiralty definition, Black's Law 9th edition. You can get a copy of that at kateofgaia.wordpress.com. Ward of Admiralty. And you will see how the spiritual realm is mimicked in the physical. That was the linchpin for me. I said, there it is.
Who uses that book? Does the system use it, or they do? Okay. I just didn't know. Thanks.
Yeah. Well, here's the thing. So bring forth the one making the claim. Well, if the one making the claim still got a name, they're in fraud anyway. So you're going to loop you're going to keep looping it. Called the bluff. Yeah. Who says it's my name? Well, if you're using it, you are. You got to call this bluff out. I who shall not be named. I don't have a name. I have a customary calling that I will accept, and that ranges between yo bitch, hey asshole, you, hey you over there, Kate, yo tranny. I'll answer to a lot of things.
Oh, yeah, that's true for all of us. We'll all answer to a lot of things, even just a whistle that will turn our heads. What's that whistling? Is that for me or what is it? Yeah.
Well, exactly, and this is calling the bluff. And that's all this is. It's a big smoke and mirrors bluff. Oh, and they look all hoity-toity with their robes and all the rest of it, and they're armed thugs with 9mm penis extensions and batons and all the rest of it. But here's the clincher. You shut them down dead with the birth certificate. Done. In the Judge Bows to Sovereign video, I'm going back to it because all the answers are there. And I knew they were. Universe handed me a gold mine on that one. The document that went across the bar was an apostille's copy of the birth certificate. And I made it very clear. That's the person you're looking for. Because I made it clear at the beginning that there was a mistake. And I used words like incompetence. Well, due to the incompetence of the court. Right? And you see them jump in right quick because they don't like those words. And it's bumbling fool incompetence, but they know they know what they're doing because in the back room there are 3 bonds sitting already waiting for you to consent to so they can cash them out. The fines that you see happening in the courtrooms, traffic courts and whatever, those are the judges' commissions. They have some seriously good days. The day I was there was over $35,000 worth of fines went out. That's a good day's take. I sure as hell wasn't going to add to it. Yeah, just 9mm. Good one, Trolley. Oh yeah. And keep it light too, guys. We got to end this quarreling and looking at things as the bad guy, because it works both ways on both sides. You see, because the system has to honor truth. It has to. It was just up to us to find it. That's why the judge bowed. And I said, great, case dismissed, I'm out of here. Oh, and of course, a month later they came back, and they knew I wasn't going to show up, so they just went ahead and did whatever they did, but I never paid any fines. There wasn't even a fucking ticket, This is the joke of it. A lot of people go, it was based on, there wasn't a ticket, it was a test. Because I had sent in my notice of understanding claim of right, or notice of understanding intent claim of right, a couple of months before. May 26, 2010 is when I sent it out. It was delivered to the chief of police, the mayor, the local Fed politicians, you name it. It went out to a ton of people. And I was the subject of the police board hearing that night. I've had write-ups from the hate crimes unit out of Hamilton. I was very well profiled, targeted and harassed, tailed and bullied constantly. To the point.
Yes, same here.
To the point of attempted murder on me and my daughter, forcing me through an intersection.
Shit. Yeah.
Okay, that's your system for you. The good news that day, though, is it's funny. I had a driver's license still in my wallet, and I was carrying it deliberately. So here you go. This is what you're looking for? Knock yourself out. And because I knew at that point they would take it. Based on the tailing out of Hamilton a few months prior. Well, it says your license is suspended. Well, I said, I never got notice for it. So what does this little punk do is he writes out, well, here's your form. They make the shit up as they go along, right? They're just fucking gophers, right? They get on the radio with their, this guy was in direct contact with the chief. This was the chief's go-to, the former chief, by the way. This guy got his ass handed to him because he came at me too hard, had revealed too much. He had no intentions of retiring 2 weeks into my solitary confinement. They threw him out. He just couldn't keep his dick in his pants with me. And look what happened. Here's the keys to the illusional kingdom. Do you want them? They're there if you want them. If you don't, that's fine. But don't come to me with court case this and court case that. There's your solution. You're not the name. They can charge you whatever the fuck they want. You're not the name. I'm telling you, they can charge you whatever you want. You're not the name. They can't touch you. You see how dangerous that truth is? In the wrong hands, the wrong minds. I'm at the point now where I don't give a shit. Come what may. There it is. There's the truth, and I'm not afraid of it. And I'm going to stand in it. To the point of,
the only thing that's going to collapse is their system, and it won't affect humanity anything in any other way than positive. It will be fantastic.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely it will.
Yeah, that's what I think as well. I mean, let's face it. I mean, how far back do you have to go to remember or to imagine a world where there were no requirements for signatures for the local man on the street? That might have been kings and queens signing documents
1600
level,
or something.
Yeah, I don't know, but you know what I mean, Stoller. You have this. A man wants to do business with his neighbour. They shake hands.
Yeah.
That's good enough. It's just, why anything that needed doing was done by the agreement and the handshake, and nobody had to sign their life away every 10 times a day just to go through your day. We need to get back to that.
Exactly. So, ma'am, are you there? It's the third time I'm trying, so let's see if we got her this time. She put her hand up. Ma'am, are you there? Oh, well, I'll just leave it open. It seems pretty quiet over where she is, so but it gets noisy, I'll mute it again. But all good. Anyway,
by the way, while I'm on, I'll mention that the pedestals document is now available on kateofgaia.wordpress.com for anybody that might like to take a look.
I highly recommend it. It's a document, actually an essay or article that Ninja wrote, and it is to the point, perfect. So I would highly recommend grabbing a copy of that. Now, I just went over to the site right now, because what I'm going to do seems to be a bit of the focus tonight, and I'm going to, you see, and this is the thing too, I am not going to sit and write things for people, not when I've already given them what they need. Sorry, it's already there. You just need to understand it and use it yourself. People have been asking forever. I just need something that that gives me the whole concept that it shuts this down. There it is. I dare you to use it. I dare you to see truth and be amazed. Right? So I who shall not be named. I'm going to crack the document open. Lots of planes today. We had a squadron of biplanes fly over earlier. So, excuse me. Yeah, so I'm going to go down this a little bit to give you the concept. This is you, Jesus Christ, turning the temple tables over to the scribes and Pharisees and lawyers and judges. Allegory. Da-da-da-da-da. Did you miss it? I didn't, so I'm just waiting for it to load up. But, it is that straightforward. Seriously, if you want to get a handle on it, I got the essay, long and short of it, explaining what the birth certificates are, long and short. And, yeah, just a coincidence, by the way. And I who shall not be named. Boom. So I'm actually going to share this right now, so that it's on this recording. I who shall not be with name hereby proclaim to all with unclean hands. Be it now known that all words and spellings upon within this document shall be of my will and intent only, without assumption, presumption, on, of, by, for, any, all concerned, where my free will choice shall never be trespassed, where my intent is my intent and no others. Whereas a great fraud has been revealed and is laid bare, where unclean hands are now in the light for all to see, where any, all, with unclean hands must judge only self, toto genere, in full character. Whereas non-disclosure has intent to defraud in that act, any, all contracts of body, mind, soul are null and void, nunc pro tunc, praeterea, 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 ab initio ad infinitum, in this willful intent to commit fraud by omission and or commission where others and all are concerned. And whereas threat of force perceived or real is proof of intent inasmuch as aiding and abetting in this fraud, and where assumption and presumption is concerned, thus destroyed, and whereby one is known by their actions of that their willful intent, either knowingly or in ignorance of the divine laws under which all stand, and whereas all signatures, contracts, assumptions, presumptions, etc. et al. Are rendered null and void ab initio, inasmuch as all are in contempt fraud, where the Crown owned and copyright names, and I listed out myself and the ones that were stuck to me and those that I had contract with, my daughters, ex-wife, Sue, parents, you name it, where those names are concerned, and whereas the intent to commit fraud via deception, deceptios, and willful non-disclosure of truth, where intent to enslave all humanity, mankind, by church-state in this intent is exposed fully, whereby one's actions make one known, and whereas all names registered are in fact property of the Crown Vatican, all matters pertaining to such names registered and the use thereof render all parties fraudulent in contempt via willful intent to deceive, and or ignorance of use, where all matters of church-state remain matters of church-state, where use of the names registered are concerned, and where, when third-party interlopement is evident by my use or anyone's use of stated registered names. And whereas it is not my intent to commit fraud or any contemptible acts, it is also my equal intent to never aid and abet any other living soul via willfully knowing or ignorance on or in their my parts. Any use of or claim made using the aforementioned names will render such attempt an act of fraud by willful commission. And whereas all use of church-state identification based upon these all Crown copyright names or any variations thereof renders the user in fraud absolute via their ignorance and by omission of disclosure of by church-state. So it's a combination. Both are guilty, you and them. And whereas all claims made by all parties, agents, living souls upon another willfully or in ignorance, to do so is guilty of fraud in that action by commission and or omission of bearing false witness, and is in contempt of church-state self, and is willfully aiding and abetting fraudulent deception or deceptios, whereupon judgment is rendered upon any and all agents of church-state and self by the very action of claiming via Crown copyright fraud. And inasmuch as intent, spirit, must be proven where all are concerned, it is now incumbent upon the church-state that the willful intent to commit fraud ab initio is without intent to do so. With prior knowledge, the agents, clergy, bar members, all bound by oaths, etc. et al., to, of, for, by, with church-state, do willfully deceive humanity, and is, by the actions of all bound to church-state by oaths, sworn, taken, given, judged by, of, in, all acts of harm upon any and all harmed. And whereas fraudulent intent of all bound to church-state entities, living souls, principalities, is visible via omission and or commission by the actions of harm intent to harm of, for, by all beings, using a name in fraud ab initio, all claims made, coerced, assumed, presumed, etc., et al. Are in fact fraudulent at source of, for, by, all claiming any and all legal names. That's both sides. You use a name and you try to get me to use one, well, you're committing fraud first and trying to aid and abet me into your game. Sorry, I don't play that, homie. So the fictional identities, titles, etc., at all and or thus any all forms, aliases, and are of, by, for the criminal intent to do so, using the intellectual property of another living soul, spirit, or dead fictional entity, where I am toto genere, spirit, mind, body. And, by the way, these are not easy to write, okay? So I'm kind of hoping that people just don't, blow past this stuff. This is countless hours put into these things. Lifetime of research, by the way, all right, and experience. Furthermore, to engage in such intently destructive acts of harm, deception, theft, coercion, etc., at all against another, via any and all means, is shown by one's actions, and need never be judged, whereby the act is the judge in and of itself. Judge not lest ye be judged, where assumption, presumption cannot, does not, and will not exist after the act itself. And furthermore, any all registration, registering, register by omission and or commission, where full disclosure is not evident, the intent of church state, any all claiming such association, joinder by means of willful oaths, signatures, cursive, titles, etc., at all are in fact willful acts of predetermined fraud, knowingly or unknowingly, where wrongful obligations, curses, has, is, and was the intent, where obligations are replaced back upon those who knowingly and or in ignorance of their fraud to do so ab initio ad infinitum, nunc pro tunc, praeterea, praeterea, praeterea. What that basically says is that, where was it? Because there was no full disclosure evident, doesn't make the one committing that crime innocent. There's that little tricky bastard called ignorance, and there is no defense in ignorance. It's one of their major rules. Probably the biggest one of all. Furthermore, was never my intent to willfully use the property of another, whereas any all things registered are in fact claimed to be such intellectual property of another, namely church, state, crown, where my mother and father, deceased, unknowingly were, in ignorance, aided and abetted of their consent into such church, state contracts, be they all forms, physical, physical, spiritual, mental, and, furthermore, I place the onus back upon return to any all beings by virtue of their oaths, etc., and self-judged in their acts any all obligations created by any all contracts, where all contracts entered into based on this fraud, original sin, intent to defraud, are nullified, null and void, ab initio, ad infinitum, nunc pro tunc. And furthermore, all obligations upon myself created via this fraud are void, inasmuch as a perceived, assumed, presumed gift without consideration of any all names is concerned in that a bond, debt, was, is, and has been created in the form of a birth certificate with an assigned debt, not value, where I was assumed, presumed to be that value without or void of my willful consent, where it was and has been the willful intent of, by, for all parties initiating such acts of obligation upon this, their debt. Whereas intent is clearly visible by any all who engage in acts of commerce, whore of Babylon, using the name, mark of the beast, is, was, has been, will be acting in fraud and creating harm, cannibalism against their fellow humans, beings, since all fiat currency is based upon aforementioned bonds and is guilty of human being trafficking of the highest order and in defiance of creation where consumption ensues. And whereas the willful intent of from any all willful associates, members, oath beings of church, state, crown, is evidentiary proof of, by, for, any all acts perpetuated against another, where any and all registered names are concerned, inasmuch as non-disclosure by aforementioned was never given, offered, where aiding and abetting in fraud is the intent, and where any and all aforementioned have unclean hands accordingly. And, whereas any and all registered things, possessions, are in fact property of the church, court, state, crown, copyright, where any claim made by any and all, not oath to the aforementioned, are matters of church, court, state, crown, inasmuch as willful trespass and enticement into slavery via third-party interloping into such matters that do not concern me, the one who shall not be of name, where my own customary calling is mine, and shall never be given. This was a kind of a key one here, so let me just get this. Okay, if you're not part of the club, right, you're not given the right to use it. That's what lawyers get. they get right to use these copyrights, including their own name. So that's what keeps them in honor. That's why only they can talk in the courts for the judges, because they're the only ones that are allowed to use that Crown copyright name. They were given permission. You never were. That's been the trick all along. That's what separates the bar from us, right? That one, I got wind of that through a friend in Texas who was in contact with two very high-level lawyers. And they actually came up to him one day and said, how the hell are you guys figuring this stuff out? You're scaring the shit out of us. And it came back through a City of London lawyer as well that was in cohorts with these guys. So I had some pretty cool inside information that walked me on my trail. These are my experiences, though. Bet you didn't know that, though. Here we go. Furthermore, by means of this birth certificate, long form, short form, deception, non-disclosure, willful act of fraud, the only documents ever willfully given as proof of intent to commit fraud, aid and abet fraud by, of, for, church, court, state, crown, etc., et al., and all oath bonded to willfully such titles, fictions, corporations, where the claim is also made that the aforementioned take on the role of perceived parens patria, embodiment of state, and are in fact kidnapped, abused, harmed any all who have been fraudulently claimed to be a ward of admiralty, where the mother is fiduciary and father is beneficiary ab initio, and whereas the rights of both mother-father have been stolen via non-disclosure and willful intent, as proved by actions of those by oath willful applications, any all claiming to be of, for, by, church, court, state, crown, in the form of birth certificates, licenses, marriages, family names, taxes, registrations, etc., et al., ab initio. Therefore, is it your willful intent of this? I've got a few of them here. I'll keep it simple. Is it the willful intent of this court at all to have me incriminate myself, where I am in full knowledge of this dual fraud, where willful intent to do so makes me and you guilty ab initio by claiming to own or be something that is and was and has never been mine or yours to be or claim? What that's saying is, you're asking the court, is it your willful intent to aid and abet me into committing a crime I do not wish to commit? Because here's the thing, if you're there, they stand. This is why they run, because they stand the chance of they're as guilty as you are. That's the joy of this. This makes both parties guilty, and you're the one fessing up to it, because you know that there was fraud before this. And is it your by oath entity, whatever it is, the judge or whatever, is it your intent to aid and abet the furtherance of this fraud, or cannibalism, child kidnapping, human trafficking, theft, etc., at all via the fictitious acts legislation, etc., at all, by, of, for dead entities, by, for, of dead entities, dead carrying out the dead? That's basically both parties. I wanted to make sure were named. Where I am the one of the living versus a fictional dead entity created by, of, for the church, court, state, crown by enticing me via force, coercion, deception to be a surety for the church, state, crown, court-created debts? What are you saying? Are you trying to aid and abet me into claiming to be something as a surety for this fraud so that you can benefit? Are you kidding me? Seriously? Do you think I'm going to fall for that shit? All right. Well, we all did, right? Whereas any all fraud by virtue of its intent and creation remains as such, regardless of length of time taken for such and any all frauds to be exposed. All contracts are null and void upon its discovery, where a fraud revealed is, in fact, null and void ab initio nunc pro tunc, where all energy stolen in any all forms shall be returned, where the intent to commit fraud against me has been and is, will be with intent. See, here's the thing about fraud. There is no statute of limitations on fraud. They couldn't. Not even in their own rules. There is no limitation. No statute of limitation of fraud. It is not, has never been, never will be my intent to willfully and knowingly commit fraud, where mistakes in ignorance by commission and or omission are present, and where any all acts of mine are not in contempt with temptation of anyone, anything, where any being choosing willfully to contempt me is now with intent to do so. This is where you turn contempt of court back on its head. You make them in contempt of their own courts. All contracts, documents, signatures, agreements, etc. at all are now null and void, where any and all debt created by church, state, court, crown is forgiven, returned from whence it was created. Forgive us our debts as we forgive our debtors. Where I am the non-contracting living with the debt bond, id entity, that is the property and responsibility of that or those which created it. You create the debt, you fucking pay it. I'm done. It is furthermore the obligation of any all oath beings of, by, for the church, state, court, crown to return my energy. Here's the clincher, right? Yeah, you know, you can say that you don't own any property, but there's a little matter of the energy that you were deceived out of that kind of has to be replaced. There's your creation coming back for you. So to return my energy, creation's life force stolen via this original sin intent to defraud my mother and father, where they aided and abetted in my own fraud by means of deception, non-disclosure, where your unclean hands have been concerned. I seek no vengeance, I offer no judgments, and return the obligations of debt's forgiveness to those who would have deceived me, where a crime against all humanity has been and is being perpetrated with willful intent in the light for all to see. By one's actions, one is known, and instantly judged in of, for, by such actions, where the intent is laid bare for all to see, in of, by, for any, all such actions, whereas all, any beings willfully, by, for, of commission, omission, are held and bound judged of themselves. Act accordingly, lest ye be judged, in, of, for, by oneself, yourself fully, toto genre. There it is. That's you sticking it right back up their ass. That's where it needs to be. Oh, I thought I had Mim opened up there. Mim, are you there?
Yeah, you did, but I put it down because there was some noise while you were reading.
Oh, okay. No worries. Thanks, hon. Yeah, so there it is. There's and the breakdown of that in layman's terms is the long and short of it, the essay. So I put it in essay form so that it gives you the idea. And what I do when I write is I want to make sure that I cover all points of the illusion of time and all the beings on both sides of the game. I don't want to leave anybody out. It's a party, right? I got 5 planets in Aquarius. Everybody's my friend, so I want everyone at the party. More importantly, the ones that actually started the party to begin with and decided to show up and made us the accommodating party, so we're always hosting it. Now it's their turn. They can host for a change. So this helps those that still have things in their possession, right? It's a little late for people like me that had everything ripped apart, but not to say that that game's over. It's not. Just a whole new level of play, right? Mim, are you there? Hello. Okay, well, there we go. I'll leave it open anyway. If it gets too noisy, I'll mute it. Any feedback from you guys?
Yeah, I would like to hear you say again, because I really thought that sounded good, about those top lawyers who said that they were frightened. Just say that again. Oh,
they were shitting themselves. We talked to this one friend of mine. How are you guys figuring this stuff out? Because, you know, none of us are lawyers. You know, we're actually more versed in legal than most lawyers ever come across, because all lawyers are regurgitators of something. Just like, you know, it goes on down the line, right? They're speaking from someone else's canvas. That's what the whole system is about. Politicians do it. You know, religious leaders do it. Courts do it. Judges, lawyers, cops, they all do the same thing. They're just regurgitating the same program. They don't know they're looped in a program. They're convinced that they're doing something right, and they're not.
So how far back was it that was said? How long ago?
About 2.5 years ago.
So, but things are further forward than then. So if they were shitting themselves then.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, well, why do you think it went from 9/11, 2 twin towers and Building 7 come down to a couple of pressure cooker pots with ball bearings? Are you kidding me?
I mean, this is what people need to hear, because I think, that struck me when I heard you say that. That's the reality that, maybe people are not grasping.
Oh, they're shitting themselves. I mean, hell, let's go back 2.5 years ago, and there's the judge bowed. What part of that doesn't compute on a typical court show on TV? Do you ever see that in a court episode of Law and Order and all the rest of those? Look at the system does. They put all sorts of cop shows on to make them look like heroes and investigators and these courtroom dramas, and they have the the People's Court and all the rest of this crap to make it look like it's real, and it's all just an act. Time to change the stage, boys and girls, and it's up to you. I mean, I'm happy enough for you guys if you want to keep playing the same silly game, or if you want to start shutting it down. I'm more into
I
the
just
shutting.
make it easy. If I get some summons or anything, I said I hear the SSTKV fund or trust and my name, but not mine. I didn't say that, but another the SSTKV fund, and yeah.
I don't even use that. You see that was part of the original illusion.
I write that at the summon and I send it in and I say I can't abide in this fraud. I won't and I can't. So yeah, not sorry, but I send it back and I don't care. What's next? What I will do? I don't care. So
all I would suggest you, if you ever get anything like that, which you won't, if you're just carrying the BC, they're going to be shitting themselves. Because they know that's the basis. What I just read there is the basis as to why they're shit scared of the BC. As soon as you know what it is, as soon as you know what that document really, really is, it's your freedom. It was your trap and it's your freedom at the same time. And as soon as you get that I who shall not be named is going to be one of the most powerful documents you will ever yield and wield. It is both the sword and the armor.
I mean, a key can lock and unlock the very same door. So,
perfect allegory.
You know, it's a key. Do with it what you will. They used it to lock the door. We can use it to open the door.
Exactly. I'm going to have to mute that again. All right, there we go. Well, it's not like we're not trying to get her in here. Yeah, but that's a perfect allegory, right?
You don't have two separate keys, do you? One for locking and one for opening the same door. You only have one.
Yeah. Which way are you turning it? And most people continually want to turn it to keep the door locked because, well, if I don't know who I am and I don't have ID, I can't fly here and I can't do that. Well, sure you can. I did. And I got it on my terms. That's the joy of it, right? Would I do it again? If I had to, sure. Right now, I've got something bigger to play. I've got more important things to be doing right now. So, that's you guys, by the way, to get this word out. That's why I was saying earlier, like, the situation I've got right now, like I said, my stuff's back. Most of it, anyway. Still got a bit more to do. Just hope I can get what I need in the car and go from there and see where life takes me. Cool, huh?
Yeah.
Not really, but
no.
Oh, it is what it is. But again, I am not going to play in the conflict game, and I am done with rice paper.
Yeah.
Sell the car to someone who saved up for a car and come to Sweden. You could do that. Yeah, then you're in Pope territory.
Oh yeah, that's exactly where I want to be, right? No, if I was going to go anywhere international, I'd be heading back home.
Yeah, but it's not that far away.
No, actually, it's not. But again, this as we move forward, I mean, we're the ones changing the paradigm, and we have to stop thinking in the limitations. And this is some of the, I got to tell you, the gratitude I have right now for whoever sent me those Mayan cards. They came exactly when they needed to, because I mean, the first cards I pulled, well, the first one was Realm Shift, and the ones it was just it. You want to talk about the universe pre-sending you everything you need, and that's how I look at everything. I look at everything in the pre-sent. It's there for a reason. Why did I turn that particular card over? Well, because it's got something to say. Universe is talking. You're talking, but are you hearing? Are you listening? And I mean, I more than most people set so many limitations on myself. And that might sound a little surprising to you guys, but only by setting those limitations and being aware of them did I understand the aspects of freedom. And the other side of it too, I've talked about my particular type of being, or my role that I'm playing. It's not. See, this is the thing. We're all just playing roles. We're all actors and actresses playing a role. So there's no one more special than anyone else. But in my particular role, you see, for me, I've been in prison for 49 years in this body. So I got a kind of a big hunger for freedom. Just a little one, right? So this is where the main drive, the main urge of what I do, that's where it comes from. Because until, we get this game shifted, and it is, I'm going to remain in that cell. And I don't like it. It's very, very not me. So it's about setting ourselves free. And yeah, there it is again with what Ninja said. The BC is the key to the door. It's the one that locked it, and it's also the one that opens it, if you can see it. And I know you can. Here's the big trouble. Fear. Doubting. Because we've been so conditioned for so long to do something that radical outside of the mainstream think. And it's not really, actually. It's just here. I know you committed fraud. Here it is. And is it still your intent to, dupe me into using something I know is not mine? And, there's been a mistake here, and I'm just trying to clarify that for you. Oh, no. You just put the document in, and you'll get a call right quick saying, don't bother coming in. Get the word out. I'm just wondering why we had to loop back to this tonight, but obviously for a reason. But it's the only thing I will carry, a copy of the birth certificate. And I know they won't touch it. It's poisoned them. What was their cure, because we willfully used that to create our own fraud, is now the poison. Because if they use it to take that name, they're committing fraud. System knows it. So, Stala, when you obviously got pulled over, that's all you showed them, just the BC?
No, because I had my wallet with me. So,
okay.
And they asked if I had any other identification, and I said, "You mean id entity?" And I was talking a lot to them. I know they can use or will use it against you, but not like I do it. They can't. I know how to talk to them. And so I knew they were gonna search the car if I didn't say anything. So I but there was no pictures on the other cards. Just yeah. So I will pay that fee or that ticket. No problem.
Get rid of it.
But
well, what I would do, Sola, is you obviously haven't paid it yet, right?
No. I boxed the signature, but they have to. I don't pay before, and they have to. Yeah. Keep going for a while.
Well, here's what I would suggest. Have you received anything in the mail from them?
No, I don't think I will.
Okay. Well then don't bother with it.
Okay.
You see, here's the difference about being high fruit on the tree and low fruit on the tree. And especially, most people are walking around, they're fruit that's already fallen to the ground, so they're just picking it up. And when they run out of that, they start going to the low branches and picking that. What you're describing now is how to get to the high branches where they won't bother. It's too much work. They would rather just keep picking the low fruit and picking it off the ground. Okay. It's when we all start to shift into becoming the high fruit on the tree is when this game collapses. And we're close. We're right there. And it doesn't take many to do this because it sends that butterfly flap of the wings, sends tsunamis around the world. I know, I witnessed it firsthand. That judge bows to sovereign video changed the entire legal system. It backed it up a level. They had to retreat to the next distraction. I watched it. I seen, well, what was the one guy? It was a couple of things that came in right after it. Trying the same approach, and then they were handing out 30-day psych evals, right? And quite rightly so, because if you knew that at that point, what are you doing here? You must be insane. Check you out. And I've seen it all, guys. I mean, between quantum language, all caps shit and all the rest of it. Great. You know how to write a sentence properly, but you don't know what the fucking words mean. Right? Do you know that every word means it's equal and opposite, and that I can pick your documents apart? You see, all sorts of tricks that quantum. If it's not quantum language, it's UCC. I've seen them all, guys. UCC. Let's do the UPU thing, and it's still under the highest court. Universal Postal Union is the highest court. Guess where its headquarters is? Bern, Switzerland. Pharaohland, headed by the Pope, no less, the Hague Court. So if you're still dealing in that realm, you're still under that authority. You're still under the pharaohs. Me, I just decided to climb to the highest Alp and basically take a dump from there and see what kind of avalanche I'd start. Just saying.
What did I say earlier? Sometimes you are entertaining.
Well, I can be, yes. I just call it as I see it, and I prefer the intense pictures that people, just so it sinks in, they remember it, right? Everyone remembers the funny bit, or at least most of them, anyway. The funny bits and I don't have many, but I do have a couple here and there. But it really is that simple. Oh shit, we're like down to 11 minutes here. Wow, that went quick. Just to get word out here, big thanks to criticalmassradio.co.uk, Paul Giovanni, Lisa, and the crew at Critical Mass Radio. Thank you so much for the platform every single night where we can rattle the cages of system worldwide and get lots of other people motivated to rattle the cages of the system worldwide. And when we hit that beautiful dominant frequency of rattling, all the cages fall down. And that's what we're after. We're not after anything but let's get this place cleaned up. Okay, tidy up time, toys away. Okay, boys and girls? Yeah.
Toilet.
Oh, there you go. Yeah.
Into the toilet.
Yeah. Well, we're doing Dave's and... Yep. Toileting. I love it. Yeah, well, we've already done the toilet thing as far as the vampires and the sewers are concerned. We'll definitely be touching on a bit more of that. Yeah, as soon as I can get my head clear a bit. I had a couple of things I wanted to do today, but certain things kind of had me distracted, so I didn't really get a chance to do that. But I'll keep everybody in the loop as to what's going. But I'm just not really into getting how do you put it? Best way to do it. I like resolution. When resolution is offered and denied twice, that to me is a setup for a slap. And I don't let it get to the point. So I just hand it back and say, no, I all good. Not a problem. This is yours. Because I don't matter. That's okay. I dematerialize. So I put it out to the universe. Anybody got a driveway? I'm happy with that. I'm good. Universe, whatever. I pull up the Wheel of Fortune this morning in Galahad, and everything's all about whatever. So I'm putting it out there, and let's just see what happens. Oh, here we go. We got Bindi jumping in as soon as I get my mouse to work here. I'm gonna try Mim again, but we'll get Bindi in, and we're gonna roll over into the recording a bit, guys. So area code 661-467-2401 if you want to continue listening to the rollover, and of course you can refresh your page right now and hit the Skype button to dial into the board, and the board can hold up to 50 people, so lots of room there. Bindi, how are you?
G'day, Kate. I'm okay. I'm busy shifting shit around in my house. My ex just left, so it's mine now.
There you go.
Yeah, a lot of creativity flowing, doing all kinds of stuff. Yeah, having fun. Basically, just kicking back, listening to the show, having my mind boggled by all the legally language. I somehow understand your document better than the legal shit.
No, I hear you. I totally hear you. See, that was one of the things, and a lot of people that have, you'd have to have been listening to me for a couple of years to really get the handle on what I was doing behind the scenes in terms of writing legal documents and getting court sealed and shit like that, getting people removed from courtrooms and stuff. I was having a lot of fun dealing up law firms and whatever. But what was happening every time we get a victory and then it worked once or twice and then it would stop working. So that's how I knew that we were retreating the system back against itself. And that's all I was interested in doing is peeling layers and pushing it back. Peel a layer, push it back, peel it. And we're at the point now where there is a lot of trepidation involved in it, because when you get to, well, kind of where I'm at with no name and all the rest of it, I'm at the mercy of the universe, and even more so now, and that's fine, whatever. Hey, if my job's done, my job's done. And if it's not, well, universe will keep me rolling. That's how it works. So I'm okay.
I remember you about 3 weeks ago saying, I don't want to get too comfortable.
No.
Yeah. This one's a bit too literal, huh?
Well, yeah, and at the same time, too, though, it's like I've opened up my entire being to the universe now, and that's on all levels. So I'm just letting go, and I'm saying, okay, I am worthy, and hey, who wants me, baby? Who wants me? I'm there.
If you were anywhere closer, you could have our whole top floor. Just been vacated. That's the irony. I'm sitting here with a house that could accommodate 3 more, but that's the allegory, right? So that just tells me that something has opened in the universe. So we'll see. We'll see where I end up, and we'll go from there. And again, there's no harm, no foul here. Yep. Well, you're very welcome anyway.
And it's 2 houses over here, so no problem.
Well, yeah, I know, this is great. And it's funny, I've had
opening up now.
Yeah, I've had so many beautiful offers. Unfortunately, there's a border between me and them, and generally great distances. But whatever. I like to,
Just means there's one coming up closer sooner and sooner. It's just the ball rolling.
Yep, that's all it is.
Problem.
Yeah, and again, it's not a negative situation. It's just a choice, right? My choice. That's all. And something.
Saying sorry.
I was going to say
two properties, so it will take a time for them to take it away.
Okay, you lost me on that one. Try that again.
Not 2 houses, but 2 properties. So if they're going for it, they will have to. It takes time, and but they can't do it. I'm sure. But sorry, just wanted to say that.
Oh, that's good. That's fine. That's
okay.
All good, my friend. So no, like I said, I'll see what the universe wants to toss out, and I need to just roll, and we'll see. So just checking the chat right there. I am doing my best to stay on top of things, guys, so bear with me here. Okay, because we're getting ready to roll into 2 minutes, just under 3 minutes here. So I'm going to try Mim one more time here, and we'll see. Mim, are you there? Okay. Still not there. All right. Well, it's not like we're not trying. There we go. So someone had asked me about here. Let me see here. Cards. One sec. I think it was Gaia Ship had asked to pull a card. Yeah, there we go. Go chase those treats. Oh, it's so funny. You know, if they only knew what they were doing. But anyway, I think they will soon enough. I'm just looking for my Arthurian deck. See where we're at here, because I already packed it. Okay, you are serious. Yep. Okay, got it. Yeah, it's interesting times. Interesting times. So let me just do that. Okay. So let's do another. I do card splits when I do them, which is basically I'll shuffle the cards like you can hear, and then I will split them and read the face card and the mirror card. We got area code 937 in here, so let's crack that one open and go ahead while I'm shuffling.
Hey, Kate, how's it going? Vincent.
Vince, how are ya?
Not too bad. How you been?
Good, good.
I don't want to sound pessimistic, but I probably will. I've got a couple of things I want to run by you just for your advice and your thoughts on it.
Sure.
Okay. As you know, they've got everything so entwined and entangled. If you need to go for a job, that the first thing they ask you for is, your driver's license, your Social Security number. So my question or advice to ask you is it just you walk away and then you've got to, I don't want to say live like a pauper, but you've got to try to survive without the system, which I fully understand. But let me give you a quick example. My son's been going to a gym for a year. He's almost 19. I've been going there for 2 weeks on a guest pass, and I'm considering joining. But I know that when I sit down with the guy, he's going to be like, well, we need this, we need that, and I'm a little reluctant with giving them my information. So it's like now my hands are tied, so to speak, because I'd like to join the gym, but I really don't want to give these guys information either, like, bank accounts, yada, yada. So how do you, it's almost like you can't do anything because everything is so entangled with one thing to another. That was the first thing I was going to ask you about was, it's almost like you can't do anything because it's like a big spider web.
Yeah, systems designed that way. They don't want you to be able to do anything without their, without them owning it. And anything that we do with the name, they own it, right? But it's not like it's just a gym. Whatever the case may be. So whatever, you know who you are, right?
Right.
You know who you are. That's the thing is this quest is to know who you are. It's got nothing to do with the limitations of system, and that's exactly what happens when this particular little conversation we're having right now. What it's showing are the limitations of system and what the limitations that are being thrust upon us that we feel that we have to be a part of. Well, you know who you are. It's like whatever. Me, I wouldn't care either way. It just depends. You see, there's two sides of me there saying, well, one, I don't partake in their system, and my position is very, very strong. I'm holding this one where others don't have to. So me personally, I wouldn't. That's just me. That's my piece of the puzzle. But if you know who you are, and that's something that you want to do, then I don't see any problem with it. Again, there's the problem with that question with me. Does it involve your name? Well, you ask me that, I'm saying I'm not doing a damn thing with the name. Sorry. I made my stand, and it has been extremely detrimental. Trying to have a conversation with anyone, even here or anywhere. It's like when the engine in my car went, well, just go get another car. I said, yeah, look at you thinking like you're in the fucking system. I ain't got a name. Okay? Oh, yeah. You see, so what happens is you got to get out of the system think to actually try to grasp what it is I'm saying. And that's why it's so very difficult. That's why people, when they come to me and they say, well, I need help doing this and that. Well, what do you mean I can't keep my this, that, and the other? I want it the way I want it, and this is supposed to be my get everything for free card, isn't it? No, this is truth. Make your stand or run. Call it. I can't do that. And, of course, I always look like Satan after that because it's like, well, I thought Kate was going to save me. No. System shredded me. What the fuck are you coming to me for? I'm showing you how to take the system down so that we're all playing the level field. I'm one of the lucky ones. All things considered. That's the catch-22 that I was talking about the other night. Damned if you do and damned if you don't. So the thing is, you're damned if you stay in the system, and you're damned if you leave it. Choose.
Yeah.
Choose your damnation. And you're also blessed on the spiritual, because if you stay in the system, you're damning your spirit. If you get out of the system, you're blessing your spirit. But the physical is going to pay the price.
Oh yeah.
And universe will show you. It will take those things away from you that possess you. That's why they call them possessions. Possessions, right? There's the P, which is the mirror of Rho, right? They use it in Rome. And of course, O being creation, ses being tax. Everything means it's equal and opposite. Yeah, it's not an easy game I play here, and it's not an easy game to try to describe to people. So, does that help at all? I'm going to open up Colleen's mic just so I don't forget. I get on one of my little head downs, but carry on, Vincent. Just want to.
Yeah, it helped. It's just like
follow your heart.
I don't know. It's like well. I don't know
follow your heart or
words,
follow your ego, buddy. Follow your heart or follow your ego. Your call.
Okay.
The only choice I ever make is that my ego needs it, or is it my spirit needs it? And guess who wins every time? Ain't the ego. Yeah, I'll tell you, it'd be nice to. If I just kept playing the system with, in the system with everybody else, I'd, still have Sue and my girls in the house, and everything would be great. I wouldn't have given up my very successful business to say, wait a minute, I've had enough. Okay? Yeah, life would be peachy. If I could continue to literally sell out, everything would be great. But I couldn't do that anymore. That's the choice I made. And it's been hard.
Yeah, well.
But hey, guess what, guys? That's why are you guys listening right now? If I hadn't made those choices, you wouldn't know this. You wouldn't know what I'm doing, and you wouldn't know me. You wouldn't be here right now. So did I make the right choice or not? I think I did. Of course I did. I followed my heart. I couldn't deny it any longer. And we all have our points. Yeah. Go ahead, Vince. No, go ahead.
Well, I know you've been through this, so I'm already starting to get ultimatums about.
Oh, the fun ones.
Right? Say again?
No, the fun ultimatums.
Oh, well, I know you've been through this. That's why I'm going to tell you, but, and I guess everyone listening, but I'm already starting to get ultimatums about, when we got married, we came in this together, yada, yada, and...
Yeah, and for better and for worse. Throw that one back. Sorry, this wasn't just for better. This was both sides of the same coin, hon. And it's because I love you that I need to make the decisions I'm making now. I love you enough to not have you damned to this place for eternity. For better or for worse. That was part of the deal, wasn't it? In sickness and in health? Yep. Throw the contract. Someone throws the shit at you, throw the fucking contract back at them.
That's what I'm getting here lately, and I think you know what I'm saying.
Mm-hmm.
From my wife about
Well,
because
and,
go ahead.
I was going to say, well, bottom line is follow your heart. And now you're starting to see the traps that families are. Most divisive thing we have on this planet. And there's, you know what, Vincent, there's a lot of things that I'd love to still have in my life. Absolutely. This cost me dearly. But I know that I did what I had to do, and I did what was the right thing for me. And it tore me asunder. But if it hadn't have, I wouldn't be able to share the information I'm sharing now, which from my own perspective, there's the trumpets. From my own perspective, we're bang on the money here. I'm not leaving this trail, sorry, Like I said, if I have to pull up to some Wi-Fi to do a show every night and, dodge here and dodge there, that's fine. Don't matter to me. My torch is high. I will carry it at all costs. Any questions? I'm stubborn. I'm Irish. That's, I guess that's in my nature. I have a stubborn Irish blonde bimbo bitch. Listen, I faced some of the toughest fears I've ever had, and I'm getting better at it.
How long were you and Sue together?
Well, as friends, about 12 years. As a couple, about 3.5 years.
See, we've been together since high school, '86.
Yeah, that was the same with me. That was the same with me and my ex-wife, for crying out loud. 23 years. That wasn't worth 3 minutes on a picnic table. Big deal. It's all good. But here's the thing about unconditional love. She's good where she is. She's with a best friend. I grew up with this guy. It was like 32-year friendship. So she's, unconditional love says, unconditional love says, are you happy? Yeah. Good. Then so am I. I love you. It's kind of funny there. She sent me a text for my birthday. Tim and I wish you a happy birthday, and I didn't respond to anything. I was not having a good day that day. One of those days, right? I really hate the whole special day thing, and not for any other reason. It was just whatever. I heard from both my girls. Oh, great, and then my ex's birthday was on the 24th of June. And I never forget anyone's birthday, Tim included. Here's the thing. This is me. And I texted her back, mirror, mirror. And then she texted me, well, here, I'll grab my phone and I'll show you exactly what I wrote. What I'm going to try to show you is unconditional love, okay? And I went through hell for all that, and I had to fight for a house I never wanted. I ended up getting stolen from me anyway, right? That's the joke of it. I never wanted the place I was in, right? And who was the only one that ever paid for it? Me. Who was the only one that ever had anything to lose? It was my life that was in that. $350,000 spent. And stolen. And I got everyone, dissing me because, I haven't got my free fucking ride anymore. Okay, well, sorry about that. Shit happens. Just let me grab my phone and make sure. Yeah, I should probably keep it where I can find it. Oh, it's in my purse anyway. Oh, there it is. Okay. All right. So here was the text. And maybe this might answer your question. I wrote Mirror, Mirror on June 24th. And she wrote back, thanks, I think. Unless you're telling me I'm getting old. It was light. I felt the energy from it. It's just very light. And then on the 27th, a few days later, I said, no, always beautiful to me. Love you. And then she replied, I think you sent that message to the wrong person. And I sent back, nope, got it right. Haven't heard anything since. Yeah, that's the kind of bitch I am.
Wow.
You see, that's the thing about unconditional love, and even when we're talking about people, people in our lives, you can try to steal her gold, but she'll give it willingly. Everyone wants to take a fucking piece of me. They or better yet, they get a piece of me and they want all of it. And that's not how creation works. That's limiting. And that's not saying, just go out and do this and that. No. There's a whole different philosophy here. And I get it. It's unconditional. And it's beautiful. And I wouldn't trade this feeling or this knowledge for the world. There's just it defies explanation. Once you see it, once you feel it, I wrote about it for years in all my songs. I don't think anyone ever got it, but it's starting to get out there now. They're starting to get it. So, follow your heart. And sometimes the hardest things we do are the things to walk away from those that we love because we love them that much. Or we give them the ability to walk away and say, listen, well, I got to follow my heart, and I love you this much. And, if you love something, set it free. If it comes back, it's yours. If it doesn't, it might try to shoot you. But other than that, you're okay. Just keeping it light and realistic. So does that sort of help at all, or?
Yes, it does.
Because I know you love it.
Yeah, I do.
But love doesn't say, I give in because I need to make you happy. Love doesn't say that. Love stands in truth. Love is truth. And, think about how many countless lives you've had either being a wife or a husband, right? Look how many experiences. You have to have all the experiences, right? So I love saying that to guys, well, you had to have been a female once, and I know you've sucked a dick, so don't worry about it. Get over yourself. See, that's the joy of being a tranny, It's like, I don't care. I got to tell you, my favorite line that came out of Tobias Lars that one night when he was talking about his buddy that read his book, and he sent him the note.
Oh, yeah. I remember what he said.
Yeah, well, I'm going to share it for the ones that didn't hear it. Tobias' buddy said to him, he says, after reading your book, Tobias, I didn't know whether I want to go eat pussy or suck a dick.
Yeah.
and that's balanced truth, right?
Every time I watch a video now or hear his voice, I laugh because of the first video I ever saw of Tobias was him talking about you have to, I think you're the one that posted it about you have to, shadow thing. Feel and heal your fucking shadow is the video, yes. Yeah, that's the first video I ever saw him, and he cracked me up so much, so now every time I hear his voice or watch a video, I always think of him saying that, and it was so funny. For some reason, it was funny to me, but...
Oh, well, totally it is, but see, that's the thing about truth. Truth makes you laugh, right? That's the joy of it, so... it's all good. It's all good. So... I can't say it enough. Follow your heart. And Colleen is being so patient she hasn't jumped in yet. Colleen, are you there? I'm going to open up Mim's line again and see if we got Mim yet.
Hello.
Who have we got?
It's Colleen.
There you are. Hi, honey.
Hello. Oh, my goodness. What a night, huh? Or day for some people.
Mm-hmm.
I actually was moving around and accidentally bumped to come on. So I had earlier on truth, speaking about truth and the catch-22 and once you know truth, what are you going to do with it? And this quote, if I can share it, it's from one of my favorite movies, The Secret Life of Bees. And it says, knowing can be a curse on a person's life. I traded in a pack of lies for a pack of truth, and I didn't know which one was heavier, which one took the most strength to carry around. It was a ridiculous question, though, because once you know the truth, you can't ever go back and pick up your suitcase of lies. Heavier or not, the truth is yours now.
Yeah, that's why I give my disclaimer now. You hang out here, you're going to get handed truths, and that is going to weigh on you if you can't stand in it. And it is not my intent or my wish to harm others. So here's the other magic of this show too. You come to this show, you come fully knowing that I'm going to be dishing it out, and everyone that comes to this table is going to be dishing it out, and we're all going to work together to find that beautiful resolution of what we find to be resonant truth, right? That becomes ours. It's my truth or yours, it's ours, right? So with that truth comes the pendulum. You don't stand in it. The universe will say and do everything in its power to keep you knocked into it. So you either walk it gracefully with your head high with strength, or if you deviate from it and shun it and deny it, there's a little pendulum going to come. Just like you remember the old pole you used to swing back and forth at mini golf? Yeah, well, consider your head down at the hole when that thing's coming back. Okay? That's truth, and it will smack you. I call it a universal bitch slap. And it will. Nice. There's your damned if you do, damned if you don't. See, that's the problem with truth. But it's the only thing that will set you free. The only thing.
That's it. So when we come on here, it's like, okay, opening up because, truth's listening. And it takes courage to come on and open up and express yourself because, it's really a gift to be called on your stuff, even though it can be excruciatingly painful.
Yeah, it's only for Georgie, though. Old Georgie, the ego, that's the only one that's painful for.
Well, that's true.
For you, it's nectar. This is nectar of the gods. And the only way, people are saying, I want a better world, and I want to be this, and I want to be that. Well, then you have but one choice. To stand in truth or not. You step out of that armor-plated circle of truth, then you're going to get a few wounds. Stand in it, yeah, you're going to get tested, but only to the level that you can handle, nothing more and nothing less. Because when you stand in truth, you're in the neutral zone. You're standing at that 0 point. And universe, that's when universe takes over and says, okay, I'm going to guide you here. And you got to put complete faith in it. And I hate using the word faith. It's more of a trust in putting your heart. And even for me, even now, it's still, I can do it. There's still a bit of a ridge on it. It's, okay, I got to do it, right? So it is what it is. And I'm at a point now where I just don't care anymore. That's, I think, where you kind of really need to be. You just got to lose consideration on pretty much everything, and just get in the stream, and universe takes an oar with you and steers your boat properly. So I don't know where this is going to end up, but I do know it's going to be beautiful, and it's probably going to be painful in some ways too. It just depends on how stubborn I am in really moving into that center zone of truth, is I fight tooth and nail to be there. And I get hated a lot for it. A lot of people can't handle having me around. It's not because I'm not a nice being. I'm fun. I'm great fun. And, but don't ask me any questions because I'll answer you truthfully. And I'm not going to spoon feed an ego to make it feel better, right? Sorry, been there, done that, and can't do it anymore. It's like, you're going to take me as I am or you're not. And I'm not going to be offended either way. I love you that much. Those that can handle me will. And, anybody out there who's got a driveway, let me know. Might need a place to park for a night or two.
If you want to come to Southern Cal, I gotta.
Yeah, well, there's a bunch.
Have a room for you.
I know. There's a bunch of armed thugs at the border that are still asleep.
Yes.
Right. I've got another trick up my sleeve that I'm going to be throwing into the fray, and we'll see where that goes.
I just wanted to tell you too. I haven't heard back from Victoria, so I'm waiting I want to.
Yeah. She did mention, and thank you. She hadn't got through everything yet, but did mention.
Okay.
Mention
I know
you.
that,
Thank you.
Okay.
Yeah, and.
Thank you.
Well, sorry, you just keeping my my heart beating and mouth rolling.
Yes.
That's it, guys.
All of us, our heart beating.
Yeah, and that's all I'm really concerned about is what did I say right after I get out of solitary? Just keep me in this fight. That's all. And that's all I'm asking for. Keep me in the fight. Don't worry, I got this hill, and no one's getting up it. Sorry, I got truth boulders, and I push them with a fingernail. Gone. A couple of tons of crashing truth, and it takes out a lot. The sooner we all stand together, though, the sooner we all start just going, Kate has a point. I think I will, and that's really what it's going to take. Because I've been holding this ground for over 2 years now, and it's been excruciating. And for the most part, I've stood it alone. It's only in the last number of months that people are really getting the idea of what it is I've been talking about for so long. And never mind the allegories and looking for the preset moment. It's just a game. I'm just going to show you other tools in the game to help give the paradigm shift, to give better allegories. That's all, right? Because it's a dual game. It's physical and spiritual. You can't have one with the other. So.
Well, I think people, including myself, are just about to the end now of the like you said, rerun. It's like Groundhog Day every day, and waking up to how it's the program, and.
And what did Bill Murray discover at the end of the movie? What was he at the beginning? He was an egotistical, self-serving, greedy bastard. And he played all sorts of games, robbing banks but what was the one thing that conquered him? He wanted the love of a girl. And he went after it. What he was searching for was unconditional love. And at the end of the movie, what did he find? He finally found it. So you want the Groundhog Day? Love is truth. Unconditional love is truth. Can you handle it? I think it's beautiful. It's just me, though.
Yes.
And I'll tell you, my last breaths come out, they will have those two words, unconditional love. That's it. New game, new level coming up. You guys happy with this shit, or you want to change this? That's all. That's the only choice you got to make. Are you really digging this nonsense, or do you want to shift it? And you have that power. You are that power. You're creator. I know. You're me. I'm you.
Right, and when you're in it seems like such a big hurdle to cross, to jump over, like Vincent's saying about his wanting to get a gym membership. And, listening from the outside, it's kind of like, just tell them, this is what I have. I'm not going to show you a birth certificate. If you want me for a member, here I am. And but it's like when you're in it feels like a big heavy thing, that
Yep.
you have to conquer.
Well, you have to have a membership card. I said, well, just give me one with a number on. It doesn't have to have a name. You scan the bloody things anyway. Just give me a barcode, right? I don't need to give you a name. If they want the money, then hold their feet to the fire for a change. Turn the tables on these guys. So that's not.
Yeah,
I don't
Vincent.
feel comfortable. Yeah, I don't.
Try
I don't
it
feel comfortable.
Try it tomorrow.
Just go in and say, listen, you want my money or not?
Yeah, you want another member for your gym? Here I am.
And
yeah,
if you don't,
I did say to that guy.
Hi, Vincent.
Something about what if I don't have a bank account? And he said, well, we need a bank account or something like that. And I said, well, what if I don't have one? So.
Yeah.
Yeah, see how it's all wrapped up in this beautiful web system? Say, listen, I don't have a bank account. What's the? I guess they're wanting like pre-authorized withdrawals or something. Just say, well, how much does it cost for a year membership? I'll just pay you for it. And if you don't get it there, go somewhere else or whatever. Who cares? You start calling the shots as master instead of slave. Oh, it sounds like Mim's got lots going on in the background again.
I think what happened, it sounds like to me, Kate, is she bumped her phone. Mm-hmm. You know how you can bump it and it'll call like your last number that you called, and she's not aware that it's on. That's what it sounds like to me. That's happened to me before.
Okay, no, I like she put her hand up, so I'm thinking that she didn't know, set it down for recording or whatever, and has bumped one and whatever. No big deal. Like
but
I said,
I bumped two and came on.
There you go.
So,
yesterday
you had shared the song "Common Ground."
Yes, on Common Ground.
Is that the name of it? Yes, yeah. And just synchronicities are happening faster and faster, and right when you said "Common Ground," I had my computer open and my eyes went to the ground. When you said "Common Ground," my eyes went to the ground of truth. Mm-hmm. And then I have a note here from yesterday. And then you said in that song, I believe it said "hanging on an unresolved."
Oh yeah, that's at the end of each of. I'll play it again. Actually, I'll do that now, just so we've talked about it. And an unresolved. When you hang on an unresolved, it's an unresolved chord, and then so it just kind of hangs there, and then you'll hear it. Tell you what, I'll play it right now, and at the end of the verses, you'll hear where it finishes off on an unresolved chord, and it just kind of hangs there, right?
Yes, and that's what I kind of went to, because a lot of what's going on, I looked up unresolved, and it says a question that remains unanswered. It's kind of just hanging there.
Yep. And it creates what's called, and I found this out later, I don't know, it just sounded good, and it felt good when I did it, right? So it creates what's called musical tension. It keeps the focus on for the next one. So I'll play it now. It's 3.5 minutes, and pay attention to the unresolveds at the end of each verse. So here we go. Oh, I get to do this too. I love doing this. 1 sec. Where is it? There it is. Here we go.
You're listening to Critical Mass Radio. Now it's our turn.
Mind and soul and our heart. Here we are, all family. No bother will you roll.
There you go. And if you notice, before we go into the bridge on that song, those 3 notes, the Trinity, resolves it. Down, 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 right? Cool, eh? I just caught that for the first time. Gave me goosebumps. Cool. Now I know why I wanted those 3 notes. Didn't know then, it just sounded good. So there you go, uncommon ground. All dreamers must be equal.
So
and we are.
3 notes then, is it like complete then?
Yes, it resolves it into the bridge. So yeah, look, truth getting resolved into the bridge across to the culmination. Allegory. And a bigger one than I thought. So yeah, that one, it's really neat when you start listening every day. You know, it's new eyes, new ears on everything. And it's like I was saying the other day, I just, I was out traveling yesterday, looking around. Could I ever go back to that? No, I couldn't. I couldn't be a part of this world anymore. So it is what it is. So there you go. Any other comments? Oh, go ahead.
After you get stung, you can't get unstung, no matter how much you whine about it.
Oh yeah, absolutely you can't. It's Canada Day here tomorrow, and what that is that's the corporation holding a big party for all its employees, and they put fireworks shows on and everything, and make everybody go ooh and ah, and they haven't got a clue what they're celebrating. I'm an employee for the Canada Corporation. Yay! Look at all the pretty lights and stuff. Here's all my money. Okay, wakey wakey. And they have them come into the fields in thousands. I know I went many times. Because I love fireworks anyway, but it's going to get real noisy around here tomorrow. Well, wherever I am, so I might be here tomorrow, I don't know. But let's just say I'm going to be shifting gears. I gotta create. I gotta let go. So it'll be what it'll be, won't it? I know. Don't worry about me. Universe has me.
Universe has your back.
It's in the cards, and actually, I'm going to do that now because when I did a couple of, and I wasn't feeling the cards, So I gotta feel these. So this is the 3rd time, so we'll see what the split brings up. This is for you guys, ship. So, all right, let me see what we got. Oh,
those are my cards.
No, these are my Arthurians. Wheel of Fortune and the Homespun Tunic. Those are the cards that just came up. Okay, Wheel of Fortune, which I pulled this morning, and the Homespun Tunic, which I've pulled at least 3 times this week. Wheel of Fortune. Here's what the Wheel of Fortune is. Card 10, ruled by Jupiter. Arthur's Dream. The change of fortune, karma, beginning or end of a cycle. Good luck. Destiny. An arising chance for growth and development, riding a wave of success, fortuitous timing, seeds planted in the past come to harvest, a need to recognize a window of opportunity as it is only temporarily available and will disappear with the inevitable turn of the wheel. So there's the follow your heart, right? And 3 of Shields, the Homespun Tunic, which I know involves Percival, the Fool, the only one that could wield Excalibur. The meaning of it is skill and growth, making progress in one's vocation, meaningful, constructive use of talents, pursuing a dream with the advice and cooperation of others, laying a foundation and gathering the material goods needed for future exploits, an increasing sense of identity and purpose. The card indicates the success of ventures being planned at this time. There you go. 3rd time the charm, baby. So that's pretty good, eh? It's in the cards. So we'll see what transpires. Like I said, I don't. That's the irony, is I don't typically plan anything. I just wait and see. Get in my zone and observe to see what's there, and yeah, It's the old saying, who knows what tomorrow brings? Well, there is no tomorrow. Tomorrow never comes. There's only now. So it's about putting things into perspective within one's own heart and choose to follow it or not. You know? And I think I've been scared shitless so many times in my life. Why change now, right? You know, it is what it is. God, you guys are quiet. I'm not even in download mode right now. Unbelievable. Just kind of.
We're all muted.
Yeah, just kind of doing my thing, right? So, yeah, it's all good.
Hey, Kate.
Yeah.
I got another question I want to ask you real quick. Is it legal for banks to keep changing your? I knew that was going to happen. I just turned my computer on. I forgot that it was going to make that noise. Anyway,
that's all good.
You were talking about foreclosures earlier. Is it legal?
Nothing's legal.
What'd you say?
Nothing's legal. Everything's in fraud. That's the whole system.
Yeah.
The whole system is fraud, based on fraud, committing fraud. That's what I've been trying to say all along. Is there's nothing legal. It's the limitation. That is the illusion that has been placed on us. How can anything be legal if the intent was to defraud ab initio?
Yeah, they keep switching we bought our house or whatever, 5 years ago, almost 6 now.
Yeah.
It started with one bank. It started with one bank, and now it's like I don't know. It's now our mortgage with like a 4th or 5th bank by now, or a mortgage company. I'm sorry.
Oh, and is the mortgage company doing the dicing and slicing? Are they asking you to come in and sign something every time they do this?
No, they're just. In other words, it started with like a Liberty Bank, and then it went to Countrywide Mortgage. They sold it to Countrywide. Then Countrywide sold to Bank of America. Now Bank of America has some new company has it now called Nation Star. I was just wondering if that's. I guess they're allowed to do that, but
no, they're not.
I thought I heard that they're not allowed.
Well, again, did you sign the mortgage? Was there an X on the line where you signed?
I can't remember, but who knows?
I guarantee, yes, there was. There always is.
Yeah.
What the X indicates is no consideration. It means you become under Section 3-419 of the UCC, Uniform Commercial Code. You become the accommodating party. And your signature can be hypothecated at any given point whenever whoever has it feels like it. Of course it's legal. The whole thing, within their illusion, it's considered, quote, legal, unquote. But the truth of the matter is there's nothing legal in the legal system. Nothing. It's all based on the name fraud. It's all based on corporate admiralty. It's all bullshit. It's mercantile law. And it was designed to deceive via undisclosure with intent to commit fraud. I, who shall not be named, nails it to the cross. Might want to send that to your mortgage company. But that's just me, right?
I'll have to figure out who's got my mortgage. I'm just kidding, but they've changed it so many times. It's like, my goodness.
Well, of course they will, and every time they change it, they're remonetizing the entire mortgage. They're creating more money for themselves. Absolutely. You didn't get any dividend checks from that, did you? No, I didn't think so. Never mind the fact that when you signed for it, the mortgage was paid for anyway. But the X marks the spot, which says, I guess not. So you create the money. It's the banks don't have the money. It's created with your signature.
Yeah.
That's the I was going to say that's the power of intent of a signature. That's why they're capturing the divine feminine, your creative essence, in the physical mimic. Now you know why I have such a hard time explaining this. As above, so below. Mirror, mirror.
Have you ever heard
it all the time? Go ahead.
Have you ever heard the saying, if I knew that, what I know now?
Oh yeah.
Brother. Oh gosh. Okay.
Yeah.
I just thought I'd ask you.
Yeah, we'd be playing a different game. Now,
better late than never.
Well, yeah, I mean, it had to be unraveled, and I do know that I've got a linchpin here. I just wish people would use it and start pulling it and watch the system collapse. What are you afraid of? Freedom? What are you afraid of? No more wars? No more police state? No more pharaohs? What are you afraid of? You know, is this a case of better the devil you know than the one you don't? I'm taking the one I don't because I know it's not a devil, it's me. Georgie's got a leash on him, right? That three-headed dog is in the cage. It's not getting out until I need to use it. There it is. Therein lies the seed of doubt. That was the one thing I did want to cover. I got a few minutes left here, so the thought that was planted, and I'm talking about the Egyptian god thought, right? The seed that was planted was a very simple one. It was a seed of doubt, which kicked off the age of Pisces very nicely, yeah? And the minute we doubt, what is the only net result of doubt? Fear of the unknown. Fear of lack and loss. When people have doubt instilled in them, it's a very difficult thing to overcome, and that's the only thing that's been driven home with us. Doubt yourself. Believe in the system. Doubt yourself. I used the allegory of the baseball player, bottom of the ninth. It's for all you Americans out there, and Canadians too. They do love their baseball up here as well. Bottom of the ninth. 2 outs. 2 strikes. 0-0 tie. And the heavy hitter's at the plate, and he's swinging. Back catcher calls a timeout before the pitcher throws the next pitch, which could be the final strike, to get him to calm down. Pitching a perfect game, so he goes out there and he says, "Listen, you're 1 pitch away from a perfect game. Excellent, well done. So I'll tell you what, whatever you do, because I know this guy, whatever you do not pitch a low inside fastball. He will smoke it over the fence." Okay? Pitcher says, "Yep, good stuff." And as the back catcher is running back to get behind the plate, the only thought going through this pitcher's mind is, don't throw a low inside fastball. Whatever I do, don't throw a low inside fastball. And what does he throw? Because a seed was planted. He throws a low inside fastball, smokes it over the fence, game over, search for the perfect game, and they lose with 1 seed planted. So what we need to do is invert that. Use it to our advantage. Take the doubt seed and make it a positive. Start telling yourself that you doubt you can do this, and listen to what you say. You'll start saying, "Yeah, I can." "Well, I doubt I could do that." "Yes, you can." "Well, I doubt yes, you can. You'll tell yourself that every time. When you walk up to somebody and say, "I can do that," and then you start going, "Oh, I doubt you can." Right? "Well, I can do that." And the only reason we fail is because we doubt in our own perfection, our own ability to have perfection. So flip it over, turn the table over. There's that turn the table over in the temples thing again. Beautiful allegory. It fits everywhere. Just like Cain and Abel, just like all of them. They all fit everywhere. It's just, shift your perspective a little bit and have a look at it. It's like Vincent. You go back to these, this gym or whatever, and if you're telling yourself, "I doubt I can get my membership," you're going to start believing it. "I doubt they'll take that." Start saying, I doubt they won't. I doubt they won't take it." Reverse it. That's it.
Yeah, I thought about walking there and just offering them cash for like a year.
Mm-hmm.
See what they say.
Well, just hold the cash up and say, "Listen, I'm here to pay for a year. I don't want. I'm not giving any names." And have the cash in your hand. Let them salivate. Right. And then, if they don't want to do it, that's fine. Then just make sure you count the money before you leave. Put it back in your wallet and walk out the door. Leave the seed with them. What are you trying to teach here, and what are you trying to learn? Are you doing this for you, or are you doing it for all? Start
Can I
looking
ask a question?
Yeah. You just did, but go ahead.
The caller. What's your name, Vincent?
Vincent, yeah.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, hi, Vincent. Is the gym a business?
Yes, it is. They have a very nice pool that I like.
Yeah, but it's a business, right?
Yes.
So without paying customers, it doesn't exist, yes?
Right.
So what's the problem here then? Just remind them.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, at the moment, you're the minority. But the day is going to come when you're not going to be the minority. They have to change. But you can start that. And the thing about waving cash under people's noses is a trick my mother taught me in the 70s. When you want a discount and a good deal, show them the money first. Works every time.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, money talks, bullshit walks. Right?
Sure does.
Exactly what I was thinking of doing was going in there, showing him some money and saying, okay, here's what I want to do. Seeing if he took it or takes it.
And just think about the insanity of this, how inside out and upside down the whole thing is.
Yeah, I'm actually thinking of, okay, here it is in a nutshell. Here's Kate going off. Why the hell are we worried about a gym membership, for fuck's sakes? It's like the end of the world or something?
Well, I didn't want to be rude, but that is kind of what I wanted to say, really.
We got a few minutes left here. What's the worst thing going to happen? You have to go somewhere else? Oh, per ego.
Yeah, really.
Right.
Okay, so measure it up, in the grand scheme of things, right?
And, we've got the two extremes here. We've got somebody worrying about where they're going to be living tomorrow and someone worrying about a fucking gym membership. Really?
There's Ninja. There's the Blades. Yeah,
that's fine.
It's all about perspective. What can you handle?
Right. I was mainly asking Kate because I was trying to,
I know
trying to get out of
it. Yeah.
Yeah, when you're trying to get out of the system, and now you got to worry about
No, you don't. No, you don't. Okay, Vince, you keep doing this. You go circles on yourself all the time. You got to worry about getting out of the system, but then you don't have to do fuck all. Okay, I'm telling you that right now. Who's God? You or that, or them? Seriously.
I am. Right.
I'll let you know as soon as I got myself fixed. I've got a couple of balls here that you can have. They're guaranteed to make a judge, pal. I'll bronze them for you and everything. Give you a picture and a copy of the video. Seriously.
Okay.
No, in the grand scheme of things,
I know people who took the plastic water bottles and filled them up with water and used those for their weights and just went out and walked. It's like whatever we have to do so we don't have to be sucked into this program.
Yeah, I'd say keep the money and just work out at home. Go buy yourself some weights or something. Yeah, they got a nice pool. You got no bodies of water near you? I'm just being realistic. I'm just calling you on it. That's all, okay? So
this is what I was talking about earlier.
Yeah.
When I said earlier that the reason the system is still standing is because we are not walking away from it.
That's
exactly.
And here's the example to prove my point, please.
Yes.
Because
we think that that's more comfortable. But if we flip it over and we get out of the comfort zone, we'll see then how this system is, they're choking us.
Yeah.
Yeah, I got a great idea. And back to what Colleen was saying about filling water bottles. I mean, hell, for $4 you can get a case of 12, and then they're already pre-filled for you and everything, and you can walk around with those and actually, start eating right, get rid of the meat, get rid of the dairy, pure poison, and maybe whatever the membership is. Here's your walk. You walk from wherever you live downtown. You find a homeless person. You buy them something to eat with that money. That's just another thought. So, I mean, get creative with what your intentions are. And it's not about laying guilt on people. It's about laying realities. It's about, listen, are you really wanting to make a difference in the universe, or are you just still focused on the me? And
that's where the real game changer comes in, isn't it?
That is the game, yes.
Yeah.
Honestly,
we love you, Vincent.
Oh, yeah.
Yes, I know.
No, Vince knows where we're going here. This is not a pick on Vince or anything. This is about putting out different perspectives on it.
Though, Mike.
Oh no, with Vince he's cool. He knows.
I know he is.
He's hung around me long enough to know.
Hey, Win. To finish first, you must first finish, and you have a finish. It's the fish fin. You have to move your ass, and finish first. That's one. Back to the one. That's the only way. You're going there, no matter what you do. But yeah.
And here's the other thing too. I want to get this in before we roll out here. Do you really want to put money into a business just to make sure that the guy that owns it still driving his 911 Porsche Carrera Whaletail Slant Nose, or better yet, 930S? Do you really, or is there something of greater value and something more creative you can do just to step away from the bullshit? And that's, this is a thing. These are, they're great. But we're still being distracted with the bread and circuses, and our ego needs satiated with what I like to do, with what I want to do, instead of what is going to change it so that everyone has that choice, including the people that are starving on this planet, and there are fucking billions of them. That's the paradigm shift. Is it a service to all by serving self, or is it a service to self only? And that's not, again, this is open to interpretation. It's open to a perspective, and these guys are going nuts over here. Anyway, I guess we're getting
that's just an example. It's an example, and you know what, Vince, on top of all that pool has chlorine in it, and it's toxic for your body.
And your skin is the biggest organ you got, and it will absorb it all. So go find a nice lake somewhere. Or move some
1.5 liter in one bath.
Yeah.
It's so soft, yeah.
Oh, exactly.
By the way, I wanted to tell Ninja also how beautiful the reading was last night. I don't remember the name of it, but I just dropped so deep in my heart space last night when you read it. So I wanted to thank you for that.
And it's up on Kate of Gaia.
Thank you. Thank you.
Kate
of Gaia. I want everyone to get it. It's at kateofgaia.wordpress.com. Ninja's got an essay up there. Yeah! I love it. So,
what's the name of it, Ninja?
Pedestal.
Of course, pedestal.
That's great. So, we got a couple of minutes left here. Final wrap-ups from you guys. Just final comments.
Yeah, take your 2 fingers to the gym owner and let him have a look at them. There you go.
But you know what, Vince? What I would say to do is still go in with the cash and leave that.
I'm only joking.
No. Walk in there with the cash and wait for them to. Even if they say yes, say, you know what? Change my mind. Walk away.
I'll do that for sure. That's brilliant. Yeah. Give him a mind walk.
Yeah, plant the
seed. If you put it back on them and say, okay, so you're saying then, I have this cash in front of me, and I'm willing to give it to you so I can be a member here. And you're saying that you won't take my cash, and I have to show you whatever papers. Do you see the insanity of this? And teach them something. And then maybe that'll turn a light bulb on for somebody, working behind the counter there.
Exactly. Go ahead. Make it quick. We've got a minute.
Yeah, someone had said something about chlorine. I never thought of that. That was actually a good point, so I did not think of that.
Oh, there's your excuse that you need to give yourself, that you don't really need to go there, so everyone's happy. Thanks very much.
Oh, good. Finally.
Good for the pineal.
No, it shuts it down.
You only need 1G, and you got it. And the ground, and then you can, that's more than enough. There's a lot of...
Go find a sulfur spring
push-ups
somewhere.
Or whatever.
All right. Well, we're going to run out of time real quick. I just want to say a great big thank you to everybody for tuning in tonight. So much love to everybody. Final words here. Thank you.
Yes, thank you.
Much love.
Always a pleasure. And we'll catch you guys tomorrow night. We'll see where I'm at. Okay?
Okay, bye.
Let us know.
Yeah.
I will.
Goodbye.
If you don't.
Video provided by verdictproductions.com.
They're there. You can find one of these tools that applies to every situation of legal. I wanted one ring to rule them all. That's what they did to us. So I thought, well, fire with fire. So let's create our own ring. And the ring is quite simple. If you go to kateofgaia.wordpress.com, a couple of things you need to read. And I keep saying this. I'm going to keep saying this until people actually go, oh, I'm going to go check that out. And I'm actually going to try to resonate with what is being displayed here. It's not easy for most because I write everything from an ethereal perspective, because everything in the physical has to mimic everything in the ethereal. There's your duality, physical and spiritual, right? Of course, the mind being the interface, or the brain being the interface between, the walker between worlds. So the documents that I put together are the results of countless hours of not only research. Research is fine, gives you some of the tools and some of the understandings, but I speak from experience. And that experience has had me run through the mill. And I had to put that aside to stay on the course with all the mindless distractions. And of course, system, once you wake up to a certain point, you become a very noticeable virus in their game. And they don't like viruses, and they try to kill the virus. First thing they try to do is they try to, create a different path and bribe or, appease the ego to buy the ego off, right? Okay, well, that one never worked with me before, and it won't work now for sure. Because I know what it is. It's nonsense. Why would I give up my spiritual infinity for another meat stick go-around? Thanks, but no. The other one is they come at you with low-level and medium-intensity conflict, where they'll destroy everything around you, all of your relationships, your family. Like me, they did that, and dad, insult to injury, assault to the wound. Steal the house, the car, the truck, countless possessions, countless tens of thousands of dollars worth of stuff. Put you out in the street on the coolest night of the year. Which, by the way, even according to the Tenants Act, you can't evict someone, rental, because you don't own a house. Anyone that thinks they're paying a mortgage and they're buying a house, you need to get your head examined. You didn't read the contract. It says you're a tenant on it, right? You're a glorified tenant. That's all. It just means that you're willing to pay more of the bullshit than someone that's just renting, in the literal sense. Yeah. Anything in the system. Here's the bottom line. This one should make it very clear for people. You got a name? Yeah. Okay. Good. I thought you might. Whose is it? Yours? No, it's not. You think it is. And you'll fight to the death for it. Well, old Georgie the ego will, right? I'm using a reference from Cloud Atlas, by the way. That's probably the best representation I've ever seen of the devil within, old Georgie. So if you have seen Cloud Atlas, you know who I'm talking about. It was Tom Hanks' little devil on the shoulder. That is a brilliant example of programmed ego. Same things over and over again. So if you think you have a name, sorry, you don't. It was given away by your parents, right? You're using it in fraud. That was the whole intent. They wanted to make sure that you were in dishonor by committing fraud by using something that doesn't belong to you. And it's very easy to prove. I've proven it many times. Got an emergency passport as a result of this knowledge. That was over 2 years ago. And still people have a hard time listening to this, because they're still clinging on to something they think is theirs. That's ego. Ego's going to, keep you fighting to the death for the name. But Kate, what do I do? What do I do? Well, fuck, I don't know. I just, did my thing. I chose infinity and went with the flow of the universe. And right now I'm at the complete mercy of the universe. Because the next day or so I'm going to get in my car and I'm just going to drive somewhere and I don't know where I'm going. If I have to sleep in my car, that's fine. That's why I say it might be a little touchy as far as being on the air or whatever. But realm shift, and it's amazing. Just gonna have to do what I have to do, right? And
Please note the views and opinions expressed by the hosts on this show are not necessarily the views held by the station.
You're listening to Critical Mass Radio. Now it's our turn.
And good evening. Welcome to Outside the Box here on Sunday night. Gregorian date, June 30th, the civil date, and of course June 23rd, which is the Julian date, non-civil. Curveballs, you know me. Anyway, Interesting times we live in, for sure. And where do I want to start? I had so many things that I want to talk about tonight, and I had a couple of conversations today that would have actually covered a whole 3-hour segment. So am I talked it? Oh, partially, I think. But no, I just find it interesting. Here's a shout out. Not sure. Let's just say, how do you put this? If for a reason I'm not on the air tomorrow night, it's because I couldn't find a Wi-Fi connection living in my car. How's that? Does that work? Yeah. Interesting times, and I got to tell you, when you have knowledge of certain things, and it's just amazing when old Georgie shows up, and the different forms that it takes. You've heard me talk about reruns a fair bit lately, and I wish things were a little predictable sometimes, but they are what they are, and that's all there is to it. And until people really get a grip on what the ego is, as compared to them, their true nature, they'll be playing Gilligan's Island episode 1 over and over and over and over and over. Lifetime after lifetime after lifetime. One of the concepts, too, just to try to bring the whole planet together in a different concept. I did touch on this the other night. When you're dealing with people all around the world, you also have to keep in mind that that's consciousness that you have interfaced with before, countless times. And you hear people talk about their family and this and that and the other, and how critically important this is and critically important that is, and without ever stopping to think that, well, it's consciousness. And when was the last time you gave, from your last lifetime, when was the last time you gave your kids of that lifetime and your parents and your grandparents and aunts, uncles, cousins, friends, and when was the last time you gave them a second thought and wanted to go to war for them? And what about the lifetime before? You see, here's the paradox that we run the potential of harming ourselves, because this is how we harm ourselves. The very beings that anyone's particular religion or I was going to say sociopathic, it's probably more accurate, but any social program that people are caught up into, the culture, whatever the case may be, whatever you're in right now, and I'm not just speaking, I'm speaking planetary, okay, so just bear with me, guys. Don't take it personal. That's Georgie. But anyway, those that were reaching out to say, well, we got to go and destroy them, who's to say that some of the aspects of consciousness within that population wasn't one of your children or a parent in another lifetime, 3, 4, 5, 10, 50, 100 times ago? Who knows? And I would say, until you're absolutely certain and sure, you may want to rethink that position. Because the further down the line you go in terms of lifetime after lifetime, which eliminates time altogether, by the way, you start to get the real big picture of how closely interwoven we are, regardless of culture, creed, sex, gender, religion, social upbringing, country, whatever divide and conquer method is used to keep you in a construct. that suddenly all just kind of goes, yeah, and it's gone. I think people, if they had that particular viewpoint, especially jarheads unknowingly, and they automatically go on a defensive. And only the ego can be offended, and only the ego has its own opinion, and damn all others. So when you're dealing with that kind of an energy, I'm trying to get this formulated properly so I can explain it as clearly as I can. And it's a no harm, no foul situation. It's just observing the program, and I just choose to not partake in it any longer. For me, it's pointless. It is of low energy, and it is completely self-destructive and externally destructive if you let it. And I just choose to go, no thanks, I'm good, thanks. You can take the egg and throw it at somebody else. I'm not interested. So what you find happening is if someone doesn't have, quote, enough on you, unquote, they will start manufacturing it. They will start building up that molehill into a mountain. And it could be something stupid. I think the example I used with Cindy was somebody, putting the toilet roll on backwards to the way you like it. And that really sets some people off, Oh my God, There is a right way and a wrong way, by the way. The toilet roll should be so that you pull down from the top at the front, not down the back from underneath, because you'll find that invariably you will pull too hard and it will unwind a lot more than you want. Plus, it's a lot more difficult to tear off. So, yes, there is a more efficient way. I wouldn't say a right way, but there is a more efficient way. But anyway, some people lose their minds on this stuff. Me, I just like, oh, okay, well, I'll just flip it over. No big deal. That's, I'm into resolution, solve it. And maybe suggest it or not, doesn't really matter to me. I don't put that much weight on silly stuff like that. But what egos will do is they will build up all sorts of justifiers to get the ego worked up. Well, the ego saying, I need to be right, so I have to manufacture situations, and typically that starts happening if someone comes to another and says, listen, hey, what's up? Something bugging you? And they go, oh, no, there's nothing bugging me, and of course there is. And then you ask, is it something I did? And, well, no, and okay, whatever, it's me, me, I'll confront everything. It's one of the reasons why people either love or hate me. That's the thing. Anybody wants me around them, well, they better be lovers of the truth. Or I'm impossible to be around. That's the truth. I make no bones about it. I'm done playing in this little warfare insanity game here, and I am working towards a different realm shift. So, but I won't take that stuff. Well, like I said, I'll do it twice. I will confront it twice. And if there's still no resolution there, then I know what's happening. There's a tower being built, a pedestal being built, an illusional mountain for the ego to get onto, to be all powerful. And it's like, yeah, okay, sure. That one's easy to explode. But there it is. People do it over and over and over again. It's a rerun, total rerun. Excuse me. Of course, I get into a lot of different things with regards to that. But no, I'm just going to let things unfold as they unfold. I'm in the universal stream of things, and no harm, no foul. Like I said, you sit down and have a conversation with me for any length of time, and you'll either be, yeah, awesome, and click, 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 or starting to get really uncomfortable. Because I'll bring up shit that most people don't want to confront. I've already confronted it, so I know it's not easy. But you got to get past it. Don't tell me that you want to move forward, and the tools are there to do that, and you won't. That's another savior program running, right? It's like when people contact me with regards to legal stuff. You know me, right? For me, that's solved. It's more now a willingness of others to actually use the tools that are in the military that are out murdering kids and women and men, be they whatever, doesn't matter. If you're out, you've got a license to kill if you're in the military. All right, that's the bottom line. And I was talking earlier with Cindy, and I thought this would be another good analogy to bring up again when I was talking to her, because the name Charles Manson came up, and the first reaction you get with Charles Manson, well, he's a sociopathic serial killer. So, well, actually, no, he's not. He didn't kill anybody. He just motivated those around him to do the killing for him, if indeed that was his intention. Because anything comes out of system, I kind of question anyway, right? Knowing how this legal system works, because it doesn't. But anyway, so let's have a look at it from an allegorical position, right? So here is Charles Manson doing time since whatever, 70-something, whatever, late 60s, early 70s, for instigating and, sending people out to do the killing for him. And I thought, well, that's very reminiscent of, say, an American or a British or whatever, it doesn't matter, general, right? Like, who knows where Chucky Manson got his orders from, right? And who gives the orders to the generals? And of course, the generals order their, little legions of jarheads, tin soldiers, to go out and do all the killing for them. So how is a military general any different than as a serial killer with intent to kill, any different than a Charles Manson? It's just, and you can say, well, it's because there's ego. Ego has to justify everything. Ego has to justify why it needs to go out and kill another ego. And you've heard all the talking heads on TV. We have to invade this and do this because, well, that's what you're telling us, but we know that's not the truth. And quite simply, some of the most idiotic beings you will find on this planet are talking heads, pretty faces, and what have you on television, who are just spoon-fed information. They're bought and paid for. They have their paychecks and their fame, and that's usually pretty straightforward to control a lot of people. Well, the egos anyway. Give them enough money, give them prestige, and they'll never bother. They'll never go looking for anything other than that because they're content. The only time you're going to find any sort of truth is if you're discontent. Something just doesn't sit right with you. It was one of the observations I made during diving on the reefs, and I've dove a lot of reefs. When you go out to where the reef starts, like where the ocean hits the reef wall, and you've got the wall coming up and over, it's teeming with life because there's a challenge there. One of the things I noticed that on the other side, on the calm side of the reef, where there was all this sand and calm and there was really no life, no activity. You might see the odd grouper or whatever, but typically, if you wanted to see the real sea life, they were the ones living with the challenge of the ocean currents pushing against them to give them a sense of purpose. And that's exactly what we need to do in terms of come from the natural world to come into our world. And if you find yourself in a comfort zone, you're not moving forward. You're just kind of spinning. You're going through the motions of rerun after rerun. Take the kids to soccer, take the kids to dance, take the kids to this, and get the kids to school, get the kids fed. Got to go out for dinner. Got to do this. And week after week after week until one day you wake up, and the body you were in is in a coffin, and you're looking at it going, and things that make you go, a lot. So I look at that and I see someone that hasn't really given themselves a challenge. They might have moved up a little bit, but in the grand scheme of things, and especially if there's a church service at the funeral, now we're still dealing with complete circular, and it's going nowhere. That is the allegorical Milky Way. If you look up, the densest part, you'll see what looks like a serpent eating its tail. And there's the as above, so below. So what we need to do is take that tail out of the serpent's mouth, so that it's not looping on itself all the time, and get it to start going back up into a spiral. Just an allegory. Oh, here we go. Let's. We have Stola here. 1 sec. Let's bring Stola in. Yeah, it's wide open tonight, guys. So feel free to chime in and let's have a little nice Sunday evening chit chat, and we'll go from there. Stola.
Yeah.
How are you?
Good evening, Kate. Oh, I'm fine. And
I believe you.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, it's all good. Trying to get my headset working here.
Mm.
Yeah. So what's on your mind?
No, nothing special really. I just wanted to be in.
Oh,
and
okay.
had a pretty remarkable experience last night.
Well, let's hear about it.
Now just with the pressing on the eyes. And it really flashed up. Yeah.
Lights up pretty good, huh?
Extremely. At first it got all light, and then suddenly it was just like looking at the whitest of the sun, and it was all around. No head, no nothing. Just like being in... that was amazing. So
in the universal flow. If you want to have a glimpse without needing the ayahuasca and all the rest of it, there's a quick shortcut to it.
Yeah. Nice one.
Yeah, have a look at your little comet. Your point of light that's projecting your hologram, you. That's looking at you in the mirror, baby.
Yeah.
So what else?
Oh, you go on.
Oh, I'm waiting.
I had a couple of hours sleep, so I just woke up again.
So you're still in the zone. I didn't get a chance to zone out today. I just got busy packing stuff. So.
And that sounds.
Sounds ominous, doesn't it? It's just.
Yeah,
it's all good. It's all good. I'm not one for conflict. I choose to resolve conflict, and when I see there's potential for it, and I ask once to see what's up, and I get nothing, and then I ask again, dealing with the same situation again, and get nothing, well, then obviously there's nothing to resolve. So great. I don't go to 3. That's how it is. And I'm not one to wait for anyone or anything to build up what I call justifiers. I think it was Cindy I was talking about this with regards to pedestals today, and let me retouch on that again. And there was a couple other things I wanted to go back onto as well, because a lot of the stuff needs repeating because it's very simple and very difficult to get. But one of the things that happens when, and this is why I absolutely abhor any form of pedestals, because invariably when one pedestal gets built, there's actually 2 getting built. And it's with the intent. This is what ego does. Ego is all about survival. That's all ego knows. It has to keep the meat stick clicking along. And damn the torpedoes and damn the being running the ship, right? Okay? That's the ego taking over the helm. And it's a tricky little bastard. It loves, wonderful sights and smells and tastes and feelings, and it's all very 5 sense oriented. That's because that's all it can experience. It doesn't experience spirituality as we do. These are the programs that we run in. And what you'll find happening, and I'm sure you've seen it many times, what you find happening, if someone is looking, or an ego is looking for a reason to, what's the best way to put it? Build itself up or pick a fight, right? It begins first off by building what I call justifiers, where there's really nothing there. It could be a simple misunderstanding, which is 99% of the time is what it is. There wasn't a duplication of intent and meaning, because ego will fractionalize and marginalize everything to its own needs. And people do this